Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Wednesday night, as you're going to get coverage of the Wicked Racing League here this evening, as it's race number 8 of the regular season, the marking of the halfway for these drivers on that of the regular season march, as we go from that of Fontana to the nighttime desert in Las Vegas for these drivers. Currently, the drivers are dealing with qualifying. They've got about halfway still left in qualifying for those drivers, but we are ready and set for 160 laps here tonight. Can't wait for it. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is going to be that is Zach Hall. And Zach, drivers underway with qualifying, but Las Vegas Motor Speedway, man, this certainly should be an interesting race, especially after last week's incredible run at Auto Club.
Oh, it really should be, Sam. I'm going to be very interested to see how this plays out here tonight, because I think a lot of what we've seen throughout even Auto Club will come to fruition here, where it's going to be very, very loose for these drivers and kind of be all over the place when it comes to the grip levels. So going to be a fun night to watch how that all comes together for these drivers and how they can manage the tires here, because we got 160 laps for them to figure it out. So we got plenty of time, and I think we're going to see plenty of sideways action.
As currently top of the board going to be Gavin Rogers, the driver that has found himself having such an incredible run at this track last season. He's hoping to have that same magic, but like we've seen the last couple of races, you never know who could pop up into victory lane. Last week got to see a first-time winner, and that Blaze Crawford looking like a threat to watch out for. Then Jimmy Kubinek the week prior to that at Daytona becoming a first-time winner. Who could become the next first-time winner in the Wicked Racing League? Time will tell, as currently on track is that of Johnny Shade, getting his last laps in here for qualifying, as they've got about 50 seconds left for that of the Get Wet Sports 250 here at Las Vegas. And Zach, last week we got to see that Blaze Crawford get into victory lane. We thought it was going to happen a few weeks prior at that of New Hampshire. Instead, it comes at Auto Club. Obviously, one of the drivers we're going to be watching out for, as he's going to, once again, qualifying all the way back in last place, but certainly is going to be a driver we know who can climb through the field.
That he really is. This is going to be fun to watch once again. I mean, that first stage for him at Auto Club was very tough. He didn't have the greatest run through that stage, and it seemed like he was figuring things out. He even said that in his interview last week. Then stage 2, he did seem to really figure it out. And then that final run of the race, he was just lights out. So we'll see who can put it all together, maybe to stop him here tonight. Or will we see another first-time winner? Because like you said, it's just been nonstop with that action. I'm expecting a good one here under the lights at Las Vegas.
This season, we've had a total of 3 first-time winners this season in Las Vegas. Looks to be, based on how these drivers have been talking about the handling. We've been seeing the handling in official races yesterday and today. Could be a handful to watch out for, as the drivers are done with practice, they're done with qualifying. Let's take a look at where our qualifying results are here this evening, on where the drivers will start out this first stage of racing action. Taking the pole award, who's been up front plenty of times, it's Gavin Rogers in that 77 machine, with Mason Hausman to his outside in the 78. Alex Coffey going to be in 3rd place for the 7, with Steven Stimpian in 4th. That of Gregory Shull going to be in 5th, with TJ Roberts going to be in that of 6th position. Carl Pooler starting in 7th, with that of Alex Light going to be in 8th. 9th it's going to be that of Jamie Pollard, as well as 10th place going to be that of Cedric Hunter.
Last week, 2nd place finisher Blaine Wilson is going to start in the 11th position. 12th is going to go to Dakota Camper. 13th is going to be the 25 of Cody Reed, with the number 2 machine of Stephen Borbell starting 14th. 15th is going to be Nigel Christensen. Chad Bean's going to start 16th. Adam Buzzio in the 5, going to be 17th on the board. 18th is going to go to Brad Delth. 19th is going to be Richard Wolsifer. And in 20th, rounding out our top 20, is Christian DeRoches.
Then in 21st position, it's going to be that of the Daytona winner of Jimmy Kubinek, with that of Mike Thomas in the 22. Going to be in 22nd position for the 1. Johnny Shade going to be back there in 23rd, with Ryan Harrison in that at 24th. Michael G. Amenti going to be in that at 25th, with Blaze Crawford, winner from last week, going to be in that of 26th position. And it's going to be that of Rev being our race control for that 27th position. Total of 26 drivers expected here this evening to be taking the green, but Zach, Las Vegas, certainly from the drivers, I know I've tested a little bit, this track seems to be a handful here this evening.
That it really has been, Sam, and it's kind of a reoccurring theme, in my opinion, with this car at these intermediate style racetracks. Anything bigger than a mile where the speeds are very high and the loads are also very high when it comes to the downforce being thrown into the tires, it builds up that heat and quickly things start to go sideways if you go out there and really try to get after it. And it's one of those situations where as a driver, you got to know how to pull the reins back and be able to control yourself from going out there and trying to put down those fast laps. Because if you do that, within 10 to 15 laps, you're going to be struggling and you're going to find the drivers who were patient and let it all play out being in a much better position. So I think we'll see who has that patience in mind and who doesn't, because you're going to see lots of comers and goers throughout the first parts of these runs where some drivers are going to really try to go forward and try to get as much track position as possible. Maybe they don't have that memo on about how these tires will affect them, because quickly they'll figure it out here. And that's what stage racing's also for. So we've always talked about how it's cool to see the evolution from a driver in stage one, learning what to carry over into the next few stages. So we'll see if someone can take what they learn here, if they don't get it right, and carry it into those next ones.
And on top of that of tires, another factor we got to touch on is the draft. These drivers are going to be on top of one another, expecting a little bit of pack racing in the early going before we can start to get spaced out on the comers and goers. So watch out in these first couple of laps. The drivers on top of one another, and with the cold temperatures, cold tires, we could also see in these first couple of laps a big one strike if drivers are not aware and aren't in control right off the rip. We saw that last week at Auto Club. Right out of turn 2, an incident was shown. Will we see a similar thing here tonight? As that of Mason Hausman, Gavin Rogers, side by side into the restart zone, and we are green for the Get Wet Sports 250 here at Las Vegas.
Great restart there from the 78 machine. He's actually able to get a nose ahead there on Gavin Rogers, but Rogers is able to go through the gears a little bit better here and able to pull forward on his teammate there, Mason Halsman. And Rogers is kind of trying to leave off where he was last time here, led the last lap here at Las Vegas in Season 1, and lead lap number 1 here for Season 2.
And driver is able to survive out of the exit of turn 2 into that of 3 and 4. It's going to be that of Gavin Rogers. Hausman looking strong and steady. Alex Coffey, Stimpian going to be side by side for third place. But lap number 1, give it to the 77 as we are green underway and already starting to see a very different split up as about that of our top 7 deciding to go on the rip, take off immediately, and Zach, it's 8th on back that's starting to just space away and going on the save mode.
Gaps are being built there, like you said, and from 8th on back, it does seem to be a different little bit of a mentality there being led by Alexander Light, and that's causing a good bit of a stack up. And you brought up the draft. It's going to be huge here tonight in these first really opening 20 laps of a run. It's going to be very packed up, especially if these drivers are looking to go forward and they're carrying speed. You're going to be on top of one another, and when you have those situations where drivers start to get loose, they're going to still be in that pack, and you may see a big one happen here tonight at Las Vegas.
Currently it's the teammates pulling away of Gavin Rogers and Mason Hausman, and then it's going to be Steven Stimpian who finally is able to pass that of Alex Coffey, who gives big kudos to Alex Coffey. This season, Zach's been a completely different page from last season. Last season, it was always the talks of just over-aggressive, always burning up the tires. Alex Coffey has learned from those last season's mistakes. He is now on the saving mode, it looks like, for the 7. This is having that of Gregory Shaw on the outside, moving up to 4th.
Yeah, I felt like that was a weekly occurrence for him where it seemed like he always had the tires in the wrong position as the runs went on. Seems like in a much better suited position lately to really save those tires and do exactly what he needs to. There's Gregory Shaw going around the outside of Steven Stimpian. Like you said, he's going to take 3rd position, and so we'll see how well the 51 can hold on to those tires there for the Limitless Esports team, because that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out and see if he's been able to figure out the same mentality a lot of these other drivers have.
Yeah, that 51 is the Get Wet Sports machine, and he's open to get that Get Wet Sports into victory lane for the Limitless Esports organization. As right now he's up to 3rd, and we talked about the draft. I'd imagine his goal, he doesn't want to lose the draft, as that of the difference between 2nd and 3rd was over a half a second, while that of the 51 makes the pass. But this teammate of that of Gregory Shaw, it's going to be Carl Pooler, who's lingering in the back half of this lead group.
Yeah, he definitely is lingering right here, as you so could say, as he's looking to hang on to that top group with TJ Roberts directly ahead of him in the 3 machine. And it's going to be wild to see if the multi-groups can come into action here, because you see Carl, he's running about that middle lane right now through 3 and 4, and and looking to go around the outside of the 3 here early in the going. Telling me he's willing to risk it here and use a little bit of tire. Will that come back to backfire on him here as he goes high in 1 and 2 to get that good run off of turn 2? But Robert's going to have plenty of room here to hold on that position. As you can see, this racing going on back here with the 43 of Dakota Camper and Stephen Borbell.
And this is that second pack that kind of split off immediately. That was deciding, hey, we don't want to push too aggressively. Some drivers have stayed in the same position that they qualified. Other drivers have decided to move forward. And one of those drivers that's moved forward, our biggest mover of the day, that's Blaze Crawford, already up 12 positions, Zach, to that of 14th.
Last week's winner on the charge here. And, you know, he kind of did something similar there at Auto Club where he was charging forward and he started to struggle later in that first stage. So I'm interested to see if he's, you know, going to feel that same syndrome of where he's really charged up forward and going to lose some of that grip. But if he's got it figured out how to keep the tire underneath him and he's getting all these spots, he's going to be in a very good position here later in this race with how much speed he's already shown for this rear group here. It's a stack up in front of him.
It certainly is a stack up in front of that of the 76, but also for the lead, catching up. Gregory Shaw has caught up to the top 2, and he is now making the pass for second place. Soon to be for the lead is the 51. He is making this outside lane work. I mean, multi-groove racing, the 51 is showing that outside lane's got some speed.
That he really has here, showing the speed on the outside groove and just showing me he's willing to go out there and push this car to the full extent. And as a driver, this is some of these points right here where you got to worry and say, am I going too fast here and trying to get this lead too hard? Because, you know, the drivers he's around are drivers that usually, you know, are up front competing for wins. And when you drive around them like it's pretty easy around the outside, you're usually thinking to yourself, this is a little bit too easy. Maybe I need to back it up a little bit because he's going to take the lead here off of 4. My question is, does he try to keep driving away or does he just start to back it up? Because that's what some drivers will do. They'll get to that lead position, get the clean air, and then they'll start to save.
I don't think we're going to see this 51 stop. I'm expecting him to continue to push forward, mainly because he must be having also in his mindset of, I just saw that of the 77 and the 78 pull out to such a lead. I've been able to catch up to him because they burnt off their stuff. I've been just running my own pace. He might continue to try to run his own pace in that middle groove where it just seems to be a comfort zone at this moment, as we're starting to see different drivers, different lanes. Steven Stympian now pulling the pressure for third place as Gregory Shaw, the outside lane, just did not get the run that he wanted. It's side by side for that of second and third.
Yeah, I mean, it's side by side all the way back almost to around the 13th position of Brad Delph. This is crazy to see here. You got Alexander Light, he's ripping the top, going around Blaine Wilson, Stephen Borbell, he's up there. The 5 of Adam Buzzio, and even Cedric Hunter right there in the 31 machine in position as it's stacked up this whole field here with the battle up front.
We talked about the draft, but Zach, you noted on it, the comers and goers around that 10 to 15 lap marker, and we're right in the middle of it, as it's going to be Gregory Shaw leading the way, getting that lap led over the 77 of Gavin Rogers, but it's everyone else that was patient and looming, and waiting in that looming state was the 6 machine of Alexander Light. Watch out for the 6. He might be trying to get aggressive around his teammate.
He very well might here, as he's going to have his teammate way up against the wall here, but he's also in a predicament where he's got that 2 machine there to his outside and now the 18 down low, so he's trying to pick and choose his lane, and you don't want to get caught in the middle of 3 wide. That'll definitely make you worry a little bit if you're one of those drivers in the middle of that situation. But right now, 2 by 2, the majority of the field is, again, it's just very much a packed race right now, but when you start to see some of these guys moving around, they're starting to get a little bit loose. These are where checkups happen, and this is where incidents can come out also.
That loose sensation with everyone stacked on top of one another is the worst scenario to have, and really the spot to watch out for is going to be that of the exit of turn 2. The exit of turn 4 might be seeing more drivers push into one another on that of a plowing action of drivers being side by side, that lower driver on the inside just not having the grip anymore. But as they exit turn number 2, a couple of drivers right on top of one another, and it looks like the field survives another lap. Take that back to 14. Brad Delph goes all the way out of the apron, but keeps it straight.
Major moment there for Brad Delph as he was trying to hang on to that machine. And luckily, he had to go onto the apron with a little bit of a excursion there for him, but he's going to lose a ton of spots and drop himself all the way back to the 22nd position. But you can see back here from the 20 car of Nigel Christensen back in 18.
It's 4 drivers all facing the wrong way. And just like that, Carnage strikes on the entry of turn 1, and it was that group of 3 or 4 drivers that were 3 wide on the entry of turn 1.
3 wide, not working there for him there, Sam. And yeah, I mean, that was wild to see. He had 4 cars backwards against the wall. That was one of the more awkward wrecks there, I'd say, for sure. But a lot of good cars involved in this one as we get the replay queued up to show y'all how this all played out. But yeah, that 3 wide action just did not play out, I think, like they wanted.
And 2 drivers going to get required damage flags. That's going to be Blaine Wilson in the first ever required damage flag given to the 76. Blaze Crawford, he'll have to use his first fast repair. And we'll see if he's going to have to work through the field once again, and if he's going to be patient or aggressive like he was in that first go. As we take a look here, again, Zach, they are piled on top of one another, and there's really no spots for mistakes to be shown, but they're going to be 3 wide, squeeze into the top, and it's just one bad hit, and away they go.
Yeah, one bad hit for sure, Sam. It was that 2 machine and the 18 coming together. The 18's coming up the racetrack a little bit, and that 2 machine was coming down the racetrack a little bit. And then you get this awkward moment where they're all backwards sliding against the wall. The 2 slides into the 18. The 18's going to bump into the front end of the 6. Then you're also going to see the 76. He's going to slide in here also and make contact with the front bumper and sandwich the 2 in there. So really awkward wreck there for a lot of these guys. But yeah, it's just that 3 wide racing that kind of came to a little bit of a squeeze there on the entry of the corner. And unfortunately for drivers like Blaze Crawford and Alexander Light, they get involved in the 18 and the 2's mess right there.
And the 18 is going to be given the EOL, so he'll start the tail end of the line as well. Is going to have to use a fast repair to get back out on track, as it looks to be deciding to just make the decisions for the drivers up front now, Zach, of do you come into pit road? We just got to see a good 18-lap run. You got 4 sets of tires in pit road to work with. As our stage 1 will come to a conclusion at the end of lap 45. This could be a gutsy call to come into pit road for tires. I'm curious to see who might take that gutsy call.
With the length of tonight's race, I think you're going to see majority of the field, which we have seen majority stay out. But I mean, it was definitely an appealing offer, I think, for a few guys to go down there and try to get that car with some fresh tires on it, because I tell you, it's going to be a huge difference here in a little bit. There's not a crazy amount of fall off. It's more or less the balance of the car, which is the handling characteristics, more or less, is what is going to tend to trend to the worst side more than anything. So we'll see how it works out for the drivers who've stayed out. I think you just don't want to waste that set yet. You got 160 laps. You're 18 laps in. You got 4 sets. You got a stage caution coming up and then another stage caution coming up. So you're going to probably use 2 sets there. You don't want to be sitting there with 1 set after that, second stage. So I think a few drivers here just saying we're going to wait it out.
All the drivers involved with that wreck all decide to come into pit road. The rest of the field staying out as they get ready for this restart. Update on those drivers that came into pit road. Blaine Wilson, who did have a required damage flag. The flag is no longer going to be a factor. His required damage was able to get repaired in pit road without using a fast repair. That's a big save for the 18. Blaze Crawford, on the other hand, who had the other required damage flag, he had to use his fast repair. Currently the only driver to use their fast repair so far in just that of the first 20 laps of this race. As the field getting ready to stack up, I mean, Gregory Shaw here, Zach, the 51 up front, and this is something we saw a lot of the 51 trying to be up front, challenging for the lead at the end of the last season. He's got to be feeling good that he's finally found this swing to be up there.
This is great to see for Gregory. I mean, like literally, like you said, I mean, he was up front last season at the end of season 1, really fighting for, top 3s and wins. So he needs to get back on that trend, I think, here. And that's what he's probably focused on more than anything here with this season, because it's been somewhat of a tough start for that 51 team. So it's good to see him back up front. He has some great drivers behind him. That 77, I mean, last season's champion, Gavin Rogers, the winner here last time at Las Vegas. He's going to have to go through him to beat him. But with this yellow here, this kind of does help him there as we have that weather being popped up there and shown to all you fans at home with the 76-degree track temp there. So it's pretty cool. He likes this track position because it's going to, allow him to hold on to that clean air. But we'll see how the restart works with those tires.
And as well, with that track temp being 76 degrees, ambient temperature going to be 74 degrees, and the wind not really there. It's only at 2 miles per hour going due north, as Drivers are stacked up. It's going to be Gavin Rogers as well as Gregory Shaw, your front two. The 51 going to be in the power. Going to be in the power to take control there, as that is Steven Stimpian going to be up in the outside lane with Mason Hausman. Going to be your first two rows to watch out for on this restart, as we're closing in on halfway of stage one. Stage one will conclude at the end of lap 45. Then we will have a second stage, and then we'll finish out the race after that second stage is done. Top 10 drivers get bonus points at the end of each stage. So if you win stage one and stage two, that's 20 bonus points that you're grabbing into your back pocket that will help you towards your way into the playoffs. So each driver recognizing how important it is to get those bonus points. But again, top 10 drivers can get bonus points from where they finish. This pace car is going to make the hard left-hander. Let's get back to racing for the Get Wet Sports 250 here tonight. First caution is done, and our first restart underway as the 51 takes us down into turn number one.
That control of the restart, huge for the 51 as he launches out to a good lead there, as Gavin Rogers is able to control second, but it's Halsman and the 81 of Steven Stimpian who are battling for the third position. Can the 81 get to the quarter panel here coming off a 2? It looks like he will, and be able to pull that 78 back with a nice side draft and the draft from the 77 in front.
And with that, is Steven Stimpian on the outside. Early aggression, but he needs to make this pass work immediately. Is almost contact between the 81 and the 78 through the center of the corner. Luckily, there wasn't, and it's going to allow that as Steven Stimpian to push forward into third. Gavin Rogers now going to be putting himself in the inside quarter panel, going for the lead as Steven Stimpian sets up, and watch out, lingering there in that fourth place. In fifth place, it's Alex Coffey in the 7.
Alex Coffey, indeed, yeah, lingering there. He's closed up on that 78. And look at this, the push from the 81 to the 51. That allows him almost to get clear of this 77. And here on the exit of the corner, if he has the run here, he may be able to clear for the second place position and try to go for the lead here down in one. And we'll see Steven Stimpian fighting strong here after a tough break last week at Auto Club.
Tough break at Auto Club, but it looks to be, he feels confident he saved enough tires and he wants to go now, is the 81 machinist Steven Stimpian. Interesting call for him to be this aggressive, but obviously there's something in mind that he feels like the clean air is better to be in, instead of just waiting on the other drivers that maybe had saved their tires a little bit better.
Loving what I'm seeing from the 81 machine. He's able to get to the bottom. Can he get the run off the corner? It's the 51 who fights back with that good exit speed off the top. But with Stimpian having a good enough run here, he may be able to clear here heading down the one, because the 51 is not going to be able to get to the quarter panel. Steven Stimpian in control.
Takes the lead and off the exit of the corner. Will there be any type of retaliation for the 51? No, it's going to be a big wiggle off the exit of the corner. Luckily, that of Shaw holds on in front of that of Rogers, but here comes some other drivers that want to get themselves added into the mix. Alex Coffey, you see that of the pink Hello Kitty machine of Cedric Hunter, as well as TJ Roberts going to be added into this thing, and Adam Buzzio, your top 8, all within contact, and it's going to be wrecking further back in the field instead of that of the exit, and more drivers continuing to pile in after the initial yellow.
That it was, and it was a tough break, because I think last week's winner, Blaze Crawford, involved in it once again. As it was contact between him and I believe the 57 of Christian DeRoches, who got a little bit loose off of 4 and has brought out our yellow flag here tonight. And it's just going to show this is how it's going to be, though. I'm expecting to see a good bit of this here tonight as we get that replay queued up to see how it worked out for all these drivers.
As we get the replay set up, initially that of the 57 of Christian DeRoche is going to be the required damage flag. No one else going to have a required damage flag, so that is going to luck out for Blaze Crawford as we get this replay set up for you. But it was off the exit of turn number 4 where drivers were having some issues, and Zach, now with this second caution, it does now add that interesting thought again of pit stops have to be thrown out. As you talked about the loose sensation, and here it is by the 57.
It really was. It just happened so late. Also, as that track falls away and the banking does, so does the load in the rear of the car, and that's what happens there. As you see, Blaze Crawford, he's just an innocent bystander trying to get by on the outside. Kubanek going through the grass from his hit from the 57, and then you're going to have a few more drivers piling in. You're going to see the 6 of Alexander Light. He's trying to make his way through, carrying a little bit too much speed. And I think in front of this camera shot here, he's going to hit the 76s. The 57 is going to come to a sliding stop here. And more drivers, the one there, like Thomas, he's trying to hold on to it there in the grass as He's going to have this 6 machine after the contact from the 76. It's going to clip him and just going to send him into that wall.
Mike Thomas doing his best to stay off the outside wall, locking it down, throttling it up, and doing his best to stay out of trouble and just simply locking it down. The safest way to go. And Mike Thomas, the one driver that probably scathed out of all the contact there, got the least amount of damage. So luckily for the one machine, he will be able to just have to come to pit road for tires if he feels like it. But for that, Blaze Crawford already had used his fast repair, and our winner from last week, the unlucky that of just the snowball, is there for the 76, caught up in another incident.
And this is what happens when you qualify bad. I mean, if he would have qualified near the front, he would have not been in the mix for a lot of this. And with the poor qualifying spot, it puts him back there in the trouble, back farther in the field. And it's hard to, when something like that happens, you can't really predict that. You're just trying to make it by, and the 57 spinning like that, making contact to the 8, shoves him back up the racetrack and to you. And then now you're sitting there saying, I've already used the fast repair, and I got a ton of damage already on this car. So, tough break for last week's winner, but this next gen car does have the ability to get fixed up pretty well in pit road. Luckily for him, this sake, he didn't get any required damage here.
And a huge shout out to the Wicked Racing League sponsor of VJT Consulting for being one of the major sponsors for that of cautions and commercial replays here for Wicked Racing League. As that of Blaze Crawford, gonna be not the only one who's had to use a required damage flat. I mean, hasn't had to use their fast repair. Add to the mix, the 57 of Christian DeRoches. That's gonna be the first 2 drivers to use their fast repair, meaning their safety net is gone. Each driver here tonight do have what we are calling a fast repair. It is a card that you pull into pit road and it automatically resets any damage that you had on the vehicle and allows you to get right back out there on track. And Zach, that is always a helpful thing to have, especially on the fact that the Wicked Racing League, kind of a beginner's league with the way that it started up last season to now getting a lot more faster drivers coming into the mix. But that safety net, always nice to have for these drivers that are still trying to learn.
Oh, no doubt. It's so nice to have it. It's something you kind of don't want to use early. You're always saying in the back of your mind, like, how can I save this thing? How can I make it last longer than what it's going to be? And when you have to use it in the first stage, that's when the worries come out. And DeRoches and Crawford have already done that. So they sit there along with Blaine Wilson. Those 3 have got to be feeling a little bit nervous for the rest of this race, and also nervous knowing that this track is kind of tough. It's been very tough to a lot of drivers, and I think we're going to see more and more incidents here tonight piling up here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway as they try to hold on to the rear of these cars.
As drivers getting themselves set up to stack up and get ready to get rolling here, lights are off the pace car, so we have gotten the 1 to go indicator that we are going this time by. One of our biggest movers so far, it was Blaze Crawford for the longest time, but now give it to Adam Buzzio inside of our top 10, up 9 positions in 8th place. That 5 machine has found his way moving forward. He's hoping to continue on that path forward, as well as the second biggest mover in our top 10, up 4 positions, Cedric Hunter in that of 6th place. The Hello Kitty machine hoping to find a little bit more speed and positions, as this season's been an interesting one. We haven't seen the 31 out on track since that of New Hampshire, and he's excited to get out there on track to see what he can do here tonight.
I'm excited to see him out there too, because Las Vegas, personally, in his previous history, this is probably that driver's best racetrack. So we'll see if Cedric Hunter can make the most of this racetrack here tonight with his comeback, and see if he can get himself back, or get himself for the first time in victory lane here at the Wicked Racing League. But he's got some tough drivers to beat right ahead of him.
That he certainly does. It's going to be Steven Stimpian. Gavin Rogers is going to be your front 2, with that of Gregory Shaw already hyped up and ready to go for 51. Then you're going to have the 7 of Alex Coffey, Mason Hausman, Cedric Hunter, TJ Roberts, Adam Buzzio, Carl Pooler, and Cody Reed going to be your top 10 as we get ourselves into the restart zone. And the start of lap number 30 is underway as we're coming up to that of only 15 laps to go in this stage.
Again, the control of the restart just shows how valuable it is. You're able to time it well and get out front. Steven Stippian with a multiple car gap now. It's going to be Gregory Shaw trying to fight back from the 77 of Gavin Rogers here for the 2nd position. Also, it's going to be the 7 Alex Coffey driving up the 4th position. Great look for that 7 machine. He was saving a good bit. I expect him to be fast here in this stage.
Expected to be fast. The Steven Stempien already going to be having that of about 2 car lengths over that of Gavin Rogers in second position. But here comes the slicing and dicing on the straightaways. How do you want to place yourself for the turns? You want the outside or the inside lane, and already you're seeing a differing of positions on where you want to be. It's going to be that of Shaw and also Hunter taking the outside lane, and Hunter is going to be the one on the move as Hausman continues to fall backwards.
Loose condition there from the 78 off the exit of 2, and I think that's what we're going to see a lot of tonight. The turn 2 is the spot on the track that the car wants to step out more and more on you than turn 4, where it seems like it's getting a little bit tight on these drivers on the exit. So that 78 did a good job of holding on to that machine, but now he's going to have the 3 of TJ Roberts trying to go around his outside, and that puts you in a position where you got to have more wheel turning to the car, and that's what causes that loose condition.
As Alex Scoffey is going to select right in front of the 51 for that third place, right on board the back bumper of the 7 machine. You've seen the differing positions. That of Gregory Shaw, he is not giving up. He feels like that outside spot is where he wants to be. The only reason we've seen him down on the inside lane is when a driver puts potential pressure on that of the outside of the 51. Before the lead, it's a change of leaders. It's Gavin Rogers taking the lead spot as Steven Stempien falling back to that of third place.
What a job by the 77 and the 7 machine. 777's pulling up front, and these two are drivers that we've seen a lot of throughout these first 2 seasons, being up front and running very, very well. As now Steven Stempien, he's going to be under threat. His teammate Cedric Hunter looking to go to his inside here down into 1, as these guys are all stacking up here for position.
That's going to be Smokey battling teammates for that of third place before the lead. Alex Coffey trying to take that lead position as we're riding on board with the 3 machine. And a good shot of both of the battles as he gets a tad bit of a bump from that of Gregory Shaw coming on the exit of the corner. Don't want to get too big of a bump at the exit as drivers just going to get themselves a little unsettled as they're almost rubbing off one another for that lead position.
These two have no love lost for each other. We've seen a lot of incidents between the 7 and the 77 and all the racing they've done. But they got to be wary here because we got the 31 coming in the picture and also the 3 of TJ Roberts there, who's really driven up through the back bumper there and make contact off of 2 there for the lead.
And it's going to be the 7 getting a little bit more loose after that contact. He'll hold on as Cedric Hunter going to stay low once again, just trying to figure out how to get up just a bumper to the quarter panel of the driver ahead. And Alex Coffey hoping for a good launch at the corner, but there's going to be going the 3 machine into the grass, but holding on the apron is TJ Roberts. Just get a little bit too much gas and maybe a little bit of help off the exit of the corner.
So close there to being a big incident, and luckily holds on to that machine for TJ Robertson. Luckily for him, the grass kind of opens up there on that bottom apron, and it really allows you to be able to gather it back up. As now we're seeing the 25 of Cody Reed coming to the picture. He wants to get up here and get some better stage points as he's got Buzzio right directly ahead of him in the 5 as they come off of 4.
Across the line, it's going to be 9 laps to go in the stage, but if a caution comes out of the next 4, and after the next 4 laps, that will also end this stage. So drivers need to take every opportunity they can at this moment as Cedric Hunter moves up to that second position, trying to set up for that lead spot. The Hello Kitty machine looking strong here, and don't look too far behind them because Steven Stempien is trying to make his charge back as well as that of Hausman.
It's so tough to keep these cars in one piece and not in a pretty much continual slide. I've seen a lot of sliding from these guys, but they are doing an excellent job wheeling them around. And right now, this 77, he's got to look hard in that mirror because, like you said, that 31, he's charged forward. But with this, also, you're getting that dirty air there off the exit of the corner. Now the 7 machine going to give a little bit of a shove here to the 31, help him get down the straightaway. That's going to make him charge into 3, look to the inside of the 77, who's going to try to close the door and put the air on him, but the 31's there, and he's going to have to run off the exit of 4.
Be able to just hold on as it's just 2 different mindsets of how to hold on. The 77 just could not hold that close angle off the exit of the corner, and it's going to be that of Cedric Hunter taking the lead, holding steady for himself as Alex Coffey going to make a small contact there, but holds on and ripping the top and going for every position. It's Hausman. Watch out for the 78.
78, man, making moves here, and normally this is where the 78 starts, in my opinion. The struggle is on these longer runs. He must have figured it out this week in practice that he needs to keep those tires in a good condition. He's now charged himself back up there. We're going to be right in position here in a battle. And right now, he's electing to go a little bit high here. Maybe going to pull behind the 31. I'm kind of surprised to see that as he goes all the way to the top rope there against the wall, and he's actually doing some good speeds. He's actually into the wall.
He's just ripping the top. The top has so much more momentum for him to work with, and he's continuing at this rate. And there almost was a caution about 2 laps ago in the middle of the field. Drivers making contact. That Richard Wilsonford and Chad Bean were the ones that made contact, but this 78 is making that outside lane work, and it's forcing the 31 now to have to think about trying to protect and save. And Alex Coffey now boxing in Hausman as he goes all the way up to the wall. That's the furthest and the highest anyone's been.
That it has been. He's loose. He's into the wall. He's going to slow down. Now going to hit the 7 and wreck him down the back straightaway. And caution's out. And I think that should bring it into the stage, as I think it will be the 31 up front.
And with the yellow coming out, it's going to be tough to see as still into one another. And Alex Coffey just frustrated after getting also clipped again into the inside pit wall. That's got to be a frustrating time, as Dakota Camper and also Alex Coffey both with required damage.
That is tough to see for that 7 machine, man. I mean, just wrong place, wrong time there for him, as he's just minding his business on the bottom. The 78 gets loose, comes down into him, and it's just, that's a racing deal, but one that, you know, those two don't have, again, you know, the most love for each other this season, as they've had an issue there at Bristol before, and now it's you know, only going to expedite that between those two, as I think we might see a busy pit road here.
An extremely busy pit road, as that will be your stage. Cedric Hunter with that of Gavin and Rogers. Then it's going to be Mason Hausman, Steven Stimpian, Cody Reed, Adam Buzzio, Nigel Christensen, Carl Pooler, that of Gregory Shull, and Blaine Wilson, your top 10 drivers, going to be getting themselves those bonus points, with Mason Hausman going to start this restart with an EOL after being the cause of that most recent yellow. As the 31 into pit road, smooth in, but how will that be out of the exit as the drivers all get into their pit boxes? Man, Zach, certainly stage 1 with 3 cautions, but man, is it great action to be seen here, as the drivers just have not been able to get away from one another.
I think the thing that I'm most overwhelmed by is just the multiple groove option there. I've seen in the past here at Las Vegas where that very top groove can work very well, and it seems like Halsman was making it work. It just a little bit too much speed was carried and got loose.
As the drivers exiting out of pit road, and you get to see that action there. And let's get a talking to that of our stage winner. Let's see if we can get queued up. That of the 31 machine, as he had a fantastic run of just moving his way forward. Let's see if we got the 31. Cedric Hunter, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yes, I do.
Well, stage winner here tonight for stage number 1. Yeah, climbed from 10th place up to the lead, but man, how are you feeling after that run?
I'm feeling pretty good. The car's a little, it's tight, but at the same time, like it's pushed loose on exit, so it's a little tricky. It's not exactly how I would like for it to drive, but so far so good, man. As long as we get a long green flag run, I think that you know, we have a really good shot to win this race tonight.
Yes, Cedric looked very, very strong there, my friend, working your way forward from that 10th starting position all the way up here to the lead. You know, you talked about the balance there a little bit. Take us through the line choice, because it seems like on the opposite side of the track, it almost seems like the car does a few different things.
Yeah, man. I mean, I prefer the inside. Like, unfortunately, I had Gavin at the end coming to the stage go on the inside of me, and I felt like the outside just really plowed and was super tight. So, I mean, you can guarantee to, you know, expect me to run the inside from pretty much all night if I have the choice to. It is interesting, though. I mean, Vegas is one of those tracks that you can run really multi-groove. As we saw, a lot of guys chose to run the outer grooves in 1 and 2, and a lot of guys ran the middle in 3 and 4. But in my opinion, I think, again, the inside is best, and that's where we're going to try and run.
I mean, Cedric, were you surprised at all with some of the drivers able to still stick with one another even through some of those longer runs that we had?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I was considering how hard Gavin was pushing on the, well, pretty much the whole run. Like, I was surprised to see him stay up here and finish second in the stage. But I guess our longest green flag run technically was about 15 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really interested to see if we can get like a 30 and 40 laps under our belts to see the field really stretch out and kind of see everybody's strategy play out differently. So I do expect, actually I guess he got damaged now, but I do expect the 78 to eventually come back up because he was pretty quick there as well. So a couple guys we're gonna have to watch out for tonight.
Certainly will be. Well, Cedric, we'll send you back to your team, but good luck here in stage number 2.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
As that's going to be the Smoke Inc. driver of the 31, Cedric Hunter, stage 1 winner, as the drivers stack up and get themselves ready to go. I mean, Zach, listening to Cedric there, anything that you found surprising after that interview?
Yeah, the biggest surprise for me is that push loose condition. I figured it was going to be mostly just a loose condition. And what he means by that, folks, when he says push loose, it's meaning that that front end is going to start to push forward towards that wall, not want to keep it to the bottom of the racetrack. Then all of a sudden, then the rear tires start to slip and lose the grip, and they want to step out towards the wall. So it's, in my opinion, a much tougher condition to deal with, especially when you get dirty air, and it makes that push on the nose that much more worse. It can make that push loose condition terrible.
As those conditions going to make things tough. Also going to watch out for all those drivers starting the back half of the field. That's where Mason Hausman's going to be. Blaze Crawford, Alex Light, that of Gregory Scholl as well. Fast drivers starting in the back. How will they be able to climb through this field? Let's find out. Stage 2 for the Get Wet Sports 250 is underway, as stage 2 conclusion will be at the end of lap 90. So at the end of lap 90 is the cue to watch out for, as it's going to be the Smoking teammates 1-2 starting off this restart.
And down into 1. It's like you said, the 1-2 there for Smoking. But here comes Gavin Rogers. I mean, almost just driving through the bumper of the 81 here. So he's going to just try to dive late into 3 here and go to the inside and try to take the lead. I mean, no time wasted from the 77. He wants that lead position back.
And it just seems like Gavin Rogers might be a thought of, I want to lead the most laps here tonight. Get that other bonus point to be grabbed. You lead a lap, you lead the most laps. So your bonus points on top of where you finish. If you finish inside the top 10 at the stage, as it's going to be the 77 trying to pull away. But a driver we always talk about how he's there at the end. Adam Buzzio cracking the top 5 and up to that 4th now.
Wasting no time also for the 5, like the 77. He's driving forward here, as I think he's using a little tire, get a little track position. And sometimes that's a good thing to do. If you can get up here and get some track position, then kind of put the manage, hat on and just sit there and manage your tires, you're going to be in a much better position than trying to drive forward with managed tires later in the run. So seeing that happen right now is Buzzio trying to drive around the outside of Cedric Hunter and using those tires.
Using those tires up, and Adam Buzzio was, we always talk about how he's there at the end of the races, and when we say that, we mean it. When we look at the stats, we always look at the average finishes, and it's out of this world when you talk about the 5 machine. But Zach, when we were looking even deeper into the stats, it's even crazier for Adam Buzzio. He has finished 3rd, which is his best finish 8 times in his career here in the Wicked Racing League. He's hoping to get at least 2nd or a win here tonight. It's the 5 to the outside and to the lead here at the exit of turn 2.
To the lead, and he's trying to make that trend happen. No more. We got a driver in the background. He's trying to hold on to position, or hold on to his cars as everybody's fighting. Buzzio to the lead though, but he is the letter of consistency. He's had the best average finish in season 1, and I would not be surprised by the end of this season if he has that also, because he just has that knack to get himself in position. But who has the knack to go through the field? That's the 7, Alex Coffey. Look at him. He's already up to the 4th position here, driving up to the front.
He's up to that of 5th place, trying to get underneath, and it's going to be that of a 3-wide sandwich, but it's going to be Smoke Inc. drivers that were on the outside. Now going to be seeing that of Carl Pooler, Cedric Hunter, and the 7 machine going to be clearing his way up to 4th place, as they're 3 wide in the middle, 2 wide everywhere around. They're now going to be 4 wide for a quick second there, as the field recognizing it's go time with the fresh tires. You have so many different options, and you have to make these moves quickly. On top of that, you've got some fast machines that know they need to get up front quickly, otherwise they might not have a chance to stay up front. As oh no, calamity strikes.
That it does, and whew, on the back straightaway here, the 3 around, and just, I had a feeling at some point this was going to happen here, because man, I mean, they were just all going like it was the last 10 laps of the race there in the middle of the field. They were, had a few drivers saving, had a few drivers not saving, and then that's when you get these situations here where it stacks everything up, and it's just a a terrible position to be in if you're one of those drivers right in the middle of the field. It's just such a scary feeling to have.
We talk about the lack of grip sometimes for drivers. Well, this might be one of those on the exit of the corner for that of the 3 of TJ Roberts, as he's going to have his issues as we queue up the instant replay. And Zach, I mean, this 3, he was trying to push as aggressive as he could, but just not enough space. He did not clear that of Johnny Shade.
Yeah, just got a little tight there, sliding up in front of the 47, and that's just going to end up being an unfortunate incident because it's almost like the 47 got even a little bit, I don't know if you could say free with the rear end stepping out, but it just seemed like he was a good half a lane off the wall there on exit. And I think the 3 thought the 47 would be a little higher up the track. And that just causes the chain reaction from there where drivers are trying to get woed up and slowed down to miss it. And mostly everybody pretty much did a good job of it. It's the 13 Ryan Harrison hit the 43 of Dakota Camper. That sent him spinning around. But most drivers there getting woed up very well and not getting involved in what could have been a huge incident.
Yeah, I mean, did a great job. The only driver with required damage, though, gonna be the 3 of TJ Roberts, as that incident brings out our 4th caution of the day. We're gonna step aside as we are in the middle of stage number 2, but we will come back and take you to the end of stage 2. Again, at the end of lap 90 is when stage 2 will conclude, as it has been a great one. Seen some aggressive drivers. We've seen some try to be patient. Who will try to get those bonus points? We'll find out as we come back from the Get Wet Sports 250 here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to that of the Wicked Racing League on Freaky Fast Broadcasting for your Wednesday night. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Rod Moyer Jr. writing productions in the background. As we've had our fourth caution, we're in the middle of stage number 2. That is Cedric Hunter won stage 1, but the 31 from the lead back to 6th. He's going to have a tough restart here, but it should be a good one, as it's going to be Adam Buzzio, Gavin Rogers. Early aggression has gotten them to this position, but can they hold on? The drivers that are settling as they're underway. Green here for the Get Wet Sports 250.
We'll see how these tires hang on for these drivers. I think the cautions that we've continued to have will help out drivers that are really aggressive and try to make big moves happen. But will it come back to bite them here if we stay green for a long portion of this stage? We'll have to see. Is Adam Buzzio off of 2? We didn't get to see it there, but he was close to flirting with that wall.
He was close to flirting with the wall, and as well, Gavin Rogers, I don't know what magic he's found, but he knows how to get off the exit of turn, on the entry and the turn out of 1 and 2. That 77 looks quick there, but it's going in the entry of turn 3 where he just loses the speed in that first initial start. Here comes Alex Coffey, and it's time for another round of the 77 versus the 7 as they're battling for that second place.
It's been that battle for a long time between those two. Always seems to be. But here's Carl Polar in the 71. He's driven his way back up here to the 5th position. We'll see if he can hang on to the tires this time around, as it seemed to fall away from him the last run. But he looks to stay with the same mentality. Gain spots for the 71. But will it actually end up hurting him? We'll have to see. As you can see directly ahead of him, he's got Steven Stipping, but it's also the 7 of Coffee. He's trying to go around the outside for the 2nd position of the 77.
Yeah, I mean, interesting thing with that of Carl Buller, if you didn't know, and this is your first season watching the Wicked Racing League, it actually kind of was a swap. Carl Buller was once in the booth for last season being the head commentator. He took my spot when I was racing because I was just couldn't handle it anymore. And Carl has been doing a great job so far this season. But his biggest thing, he's around trouble too often. He gets caught up in wrecks that give him poor finishes. That's the key for the 71 here tonight. Stay out of trouble. And the key for this 55 is he's having a great run in the top 10. Michael Giaminti, he needs to just survive and finish out these races because that's been the struggling point this season.
I feel like that's been the struggle point for a lot of these drivers, is that survival aspect. That's what you got to do a lot of times, just getting yourself in a good position. Is off of 3 there, or off of 4, sorry. That was close action between Ford and Reed and Wolsifer there, as that was almost a big incident there. As we're seeing Nigel Christensen, he's right here directly behind Blaze Crawford, who's continuing his charge back forward. And I tell you what, these next 2 cars, Sam, they fixed them things up perfectly. He had a ton of damage on the front end. It is gone.
It's gone, and we always kind of talk about, between myself and Trevor on that Saturday nights covering the WSSR Roast to Gems Cup Series. Same vehicles that we cover on that night. We call these machines tanks. I mean, they are survivabilities are there. Some of these big wrecks, you just have to come into pit road for maybe 40 seconds, and it's right back to tip-top shape. And right now, we're seeing some of these drivers caught up in big wrecks and just surviving at this time. As the back half of the field still connected in the draft is Shade gonna be bouncing from the outside wall to the inside.
Whew, close action again there, as this group is really starting to stack up things. And behind front of them, the 20, Nigel Christian goes around, and there's the yellow out once again, and another big incident.
Hard contact for a few drivers there into the outside wall, and Jimmy Kubinek, our winner from Daytona, just that of a couple of weeks ago, gonna be caught up in this one. And drivers with required damage could be Dakota Camper and Chad Beam. Forced into pit road. And for Dakota Camper, Zach, the 43, he had already used his fast repair. This could be the end of the night for that Camper.
Such a tough break there for Camper. And I mean, just, where he was at in the field is just nowhere to go when the incident happens there about 5 cars ahead of you. So tough breaks all around, but man, it's been a tough night here so far at Las Vegas, through 61 laps, and we got 5 cautions.
As we're going to be seeing aggressive racing here, you're going to see the 20 of Nigel Christensen. It's onto the apron. They're going to drift up, get loose, up into the 2. And away they go at that point. And there's not much you can do in any point in that incident. And it's just hope and survive. And there's not much, once a driver gets that loose, they're just gone for a ride.
That they are. It's pretty much over at that point. This next gen car does not like getting sideways. It likes to be straight and going forward. When you get sideways like that, things happen very quickly, and it's tough for Nigel Christensen there involved in that one. Is it was that apron that ended up getting them there into the tube machine and spinning them around. And fifth caution of the night. Again, these drivers that are being pretty aggressive here, gaining spots, and really benefiting from these yellows. We're not getting long runs where you would see normally people who drive forward like that, they'd be in a tough predicament. But right now, they're really getting the benefit of the doubt when it comes to yellow flags flying.
That's going to be something where it kind of messes with the driver, though, Zach. I mean, we just crossed over that 60-lap marker, meaning we've got less than 100 laps to go. I mean, you might be thinking, go time, be aggressive, but at some point, there's always that chance of a long green flag run where if you get that aggressive, that aggression could backfire.
It really can. I mean, like, you see all these yellow flags constantly coming out one after another. Then you say as a driver, well, maybe I should, go a little bit faster, try a little bit there to gain a little bit of speed. And it's just one of those situations where, it kind of comes back to backfire on you, because then finally that long green flag run comes. So you never really know what the situation is and what to do. And you're always in that position where if you don't do the right thing, it's going to hurt you. And if you do the right thing, it's going to help you. So it's tough to be in personally. It's one of those situations where you're as a driver, you got to go with what you feel is best.
Well, it's a good thing that we're here at Vegas, because this is the place to try to put your chips down and see if it's going to work out or not on any type of gamble you throw down. So we'll see what the drivers can bring. As Dakota Camper able to get back out on track, so the required damage wasn't enough. Incredible for the 43.
That is a great sight to see for him. Hopefully was just a good little fix up there required for him, and he's back out on the racetrack. So again, like we talked about with these next gen cars, he gets a few more of these yellow flags and he can just survive and ride it out. He will be in a good spot to get that car completely fixed up, like we've seen Blaze Crawford already do. So that is a thing that these drivers will be thinking about for sure here, as it looks like Camper may be coming back down the pit road to get that car worked on one more time, as he's probably got a good bit of optional still left.
Yeah, I think for Dakota, he was hoping that he'd at least stay in front of the pace car, but missed out on that and decided, you know what, we're just going to come into pit road and get majority of this damage done before this next restart, where we're expecting the lights to click off as they come across the line. And as they do, that's the 1 to go indicator. Adam Buzzio going to be leading the charge on the inside lane with Alex Coffey, Gavin Rogers, Steven Stimpian, Carl Pooler, Michael Giaminti, Jamie Pollard, as well as Richard Wolsifer, Cedric Hunter, Blaze Crawford, and Zach. There's 3 drivers' names right in the middle there. That of Aminti, Pollard, and Wolsifer. Great to see them all inside of the top 10.
This is a great run for them, like you said there. I mean, the question is going to be, can they stay up here? We've seen a lot of mistakes here tonight. They don't want to be involved in those. Hopefully, being farther forward like they are here tonight will get them out of those, mishaps that they usually get caught in. And I think that's the plan for them, to get up front, try to stay there, and miss all the situations that play out. But we've seen, I mean, just because you're up front, it does not mean you're safe. At any point, we could see an incident happen straight from that lead.
And Jimmy Pollard in that 33 may not be a driver that we talk about week in and week out, but his consistency, another thing. It might not be consistently finishing up inside of the top 5 of the top 10 finishes are the reasons why that 33 could be a driver that can sneak his way into the playoffs. But that of bonus points here at stage 2 could be massive moving forward, as again, stage 2 concludes at the end of the lap at 90. The top 10 drivers get bonus points. The driver that wins gets 10 bonus points. Who will get those points as the stage is back under green?
Back under green, and Adam Buzzio loving the sights and sounds from the lead position. We'll see if he can hang on here, as it's the battle raging on again. The 77 and the 7 battling once again here off of turn number 2.
And they were already 3 wide through 1 and 2, just showing some of these research drivers are getting aggressive. And aggression also in the back half of the field as Mason Houseman and that of Berger Shaw make a slight contact with one another. But up front, it's Adam Buzzio, Alex Coffey, and that of Gavin Rogers going to be your top 3. The rest of the field trying to figure out how do we move forward. But for the lead position, Alex Coffey ducks it down low, and he'll ink his way into that lead position.
What a job by Coffey. Ended up wrecked right there at the end of the stage for stage number 1. Now he's got a chance to go win stage 2. What a sight that would be see for him. If he can hang on with those tires, this would be so impressive to see. But look at Michael Giamatti. He's up top ripping it right now going forward as he's got Stympian right ahead of him.
Stympian almost getting a little bit too wiggly as he gets on the back bumper of the 77, but that of Michael Giamatti. He is still staying on that top lane, and he's got to be hoping that Adam Buzzio starts moving. Otherwise, that could be stalling out this group. And as well, in the black, red, and white, it's that of Blaze Crawford. He has dealt with massive damage in those first 2 cautions. He's now in the mix in the fray in our top 5.
That he is. He is driving forward, folks. Let's see if he can continue to do that here as he's all over the back bumper of the 55. This is good for him. If he can continue to hold this track position, this keeps him out of a danger of having to, come back down pit road and get major damage if he's back in that pack, because he's got that fast repair already burned. He does not want to be in a tough position because right now he's going forward and with a mission.
He certainly is. Talked about who's going to gamble on just trying to use up these tires immediately and have that aggression. Well, the 76, certainly one of those. That first stage, kind of reminiscent to last week when he won at Auto Club, a poor stage 1. The stage 2 was a learning lesson, and then he went out to win, the rest of the race. Could the similar strat be shown here as the 76 stays high, but it's Michael Giamatti up to 2nd now.
And the 76 into the wall, and the 55 using the run that he got off the top side to get to the back bumper. Alex Coffey, can he continue his drive forward if the 55 takes the lead? This would be the first time we've seen him drive up to a lead position, and he looks like he's got some speed here, folks. This 55 bringing it this week at Las Vegas.
I mean, he's had spur of the moments, this rookie number 55 machine, at times being up front, but he never could find the finishes. His best finish was at that of all the way at Bristol, where he finished 10th. Now, up front, challenging for the lead here with 20 laps to go, back being 19 laps to go in the second stage, and he's challenging with the top dogs. He's got that of Alex Coffey, Crawford, Stympian, all up here in the top 4, and it's the 55 in second, pressuring Alex Coffey.
Pressure indeed here, Sam. But can he get the speed here? Carried off a 2. This is where he's been good so far, but he's close to the wall, a little loose, almost gets into it. He had to duck down low there to stay off of it, and that could have been a huge moment.
And that would be the moments that's been struggling and kind of hindering this 55 all season long, where he shows strikes of brilliance, but at the same swing, he's finding himself caught up in some danger. Don't want to get into that outside wall. And after seeing that one time, be curious if we're going to see that same issue pop up again for Amenti here for the next 3 laps.
He can very well pop up once again. He stays a little bit farther off the wall this time. That allows him to have a little bit more space there, not to have that slide. But again, utilizing that higher lane. We saw Gregory Shaw. He was so fast up top, but it all went away super quickly. That is the thing I think about the top side. It does make tons of speed, but it really hurts those tires. So you got to be careful if you're one of these drivers going up there trying to make that speed, because you can easily end up like that 78 did and into that wall and wrecked in a bad position.
He's going to continue to just hit his marks. That of Michael Giamatti, just hitting every mark that's necessary. But to the inside, going to be Steven Stympian. It's becoming a jostle of who's going to be behind the 55 and that of the 7. And right now it's the 81. Getting to the inside, and Richard Wolsifer through the grass.
Big moment for the 56 as he gathers it up there, folks, and luckily hangs on to it. And his teammate Gregory Shaw goes by him there, and along with the 13. And Gregory Shaw not too long ago had about the same moment there as the 56. So 2 tough breaks there for the Limitless team as they go just pretty much mowing the grass here off of 4.
Mowing the grass, but luckily still in this race. Might have to restart and bank on a yellow, but the big thing for Richard Wolsifer, the fact that he did not clobber the wall is a massive plus. He's already used up his fast repair, and he needs to just survive for a race. He has had PC issues as well as just racing incidents that have cost him greatly. For almost the past 4 or 5 races, he needs a clean run, but the drivers in the middle of the field, they are climbing, and this is clawing action for the drivers for that cutoff 10th place position.
Yeah, this is that cutoff point here, and look, there's the stage winner from stage 1, Cedric Hunter there. He's making his climb back forward. He makes the pass on Carl Pooler up to the 8th position, who Pooler, remember, he drove up into the top 5 here early in this stage. Looks like he's paying the prices for that now, as they're going to be 3 wide into 1. Almost contact there with the 18, and that would have been almost a similar condition to what we've seen early in this race with Blaine Wilson on the bottom of 3 wide.
That was almost identical to that first caution that we had here tonight, and I thought we were going to see it happen again, just the way that Blaine had drifted low, then came back up, and with similar drivers around one another, thought maybe they would have learned a little bit better, but it's right there, holding on, but Carl Pooler's going to break loose, and somehow holds on for that of the 71.
Big moment there again for that 71 who had track position, drove his way up there, but I think it's done a number on the tires, and it just shows there as the run continues on that you just cannot hang on to it there as you start to build up those pressures. So tough break, but this fight here for this this final point in the stage, it's on. Here's TJ Roberts, yes, Stephen Borbell. That's it right there. That's for the 10th position. Then you also got the 33 of Jamie Plord there. That 3 is going forward.
And TJ Roberts might have had to use a fast repair earlier on after being involved in an accident. Doesn't matter. Let's get aggressive with 12 laps to go in stage number 2. These bonus points could be a saving point for you. It could be a little bit, of a lifesaver on the fact that if you find yourself having a poor finish at the end of the day, well, at least you got some bonus points that can salvage a night. That's why these drivers are getting so aggressive at this point, recognizing bonus points could save a night and also save an opportunity into the playoffs.
I think also the big thing here with TJ Roberts, he has 15 lap old tires here, now 16 compared to the other group's 37 lap older tires. So TJ Roberts making up the difference there with some fresher tires. We could see that 3 machine going even farther forward here before the end of the stage is over.
Up to that of 8th place, but if he hasn't been conserving and being patient with the tires, they could honestly be already plateaued out, and there's no advantage at this point. As for our leaders, a huge kind of blocking off point. Our top 3 all pretty equally distanced between one another. I didn't even notice this because of how much carnage and just amazing racing action we were seeing in the middle of the field, but it is equal distance between 1st to 2nd and 2nd to 3rd.
It really is. That is crazy to see, actually, there, as we've got some separation, and I'm impressed with Alex Coffey, man. I mean, faster than the 77 than he was last time by a couple hundredths of a second. And as I say that, he steps out sideways. He's going to lose a little bit of time, but same for that number 77 machine. But they can't look too far behind. The fastest car on this racetrack is the stage 1 winner. It's Cedric Hunter. He's making a pass already on Steven Stippian, and it's showing. When he gave up all those spots, he was saving a ton of tire. Let's see if he has time here, because the 2 in front of him are in the wall.
They're into the wall, and they continue to just flounder at this point to stay on the racing surface and not just junk up their machines. Is that of the 7 of Alex Coffey and the 77 of Gavin Rogers at his turn number 4. They look stable at that point, but it's the exit of turn 2 where they're looking the weakest at this time, as Cedric Hunter, he's seeing the laps tick away, and the opportune chances of closing in on this gap certainly are there if this stage continues to stay green. But if a yellow comes out after the next 2 laps, that will be the stage, and that's exactly what happened for that of stage number 1.
And it will be, Sam, and this is starting to heat up here, folks. I'm telling you what, the 31, he's got some speed. I think the problem he's going to run into, the closer he gets to that 77 machine, the tougher this is going to be to gain time. He's about a 10th faster than both the drivers ahead of him. He's about 8/10 back there, and with it being 7 laps to go in the stage, that's just not enough time to get up there. He's going to have to make quick work of the 77, or hope the 77 goes up here and pressures the 7 if he wants any chance at this stage victory here to go back after stage 1.
I mean, you're talking about putting the pressure on. They're both going and closing in on one another. Gavin Rogers is closing in on our leader, but Cedric Hunter is catching up to Gavin Rogers faster than the 77 is, as now our top 4 are starting to space their way away from that of the 5th place battling, as they were almost 4 wide. They are 4 wide back for 5th place, somehow keeping it green for now, but it's going to be bumping and banging between one another. It's the 18, the 51, and the 3 fresh tires trying to hold on, as this could be the potential spot where we see a yellow flag, because if a yellow flag comes out at this point or the end of lap 90, that will be the stage.
That it will be, Sam, and fresh tires are flying right now. The 51 of Gregory Shaw, he took a little bit more of a cautious approach, and I love it from him. He did a great job there, saving a little bit of stuff, wait until it spread it out a little bit, and he's able to go forward now as he's up to the 6th position. Can he get up farther is going to be the question. He ain't going to go for the win, but he's definitely going to be in position here for a little bit of a better spot here. But TJ Roberts has those same tires. He's going to fight back, and this is going to hold up their progress, as now even Cedric Hunter, he's up to 2nd, so everything is going wild here as this run continues on.
And 51 has a big wiggle, but like you said, the 31 up to 2nd place and wanting to win 2 stages in a row, wanting to get the sweep here tonight as that of Alex Coffey. He's been holding, defending, and the biggest advantage for that 7 machine is the fact that Cedric Hunter isn't closing as fast as he was before. It was around about a 2/10, only 1/10 that last go around, but it's now down to just 3/10 the gap between 1st and 2nd. Zach, at this point, Cedric Hunter is going to need a mistake from the 7 if he wants to make the pass for this lead position.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need something here with 3 to go. It's going to get close here, though, I think. I think Cedric Hunter's going to close up to that back bumper. The problem is the closer you get again, the harder it gets. It gets so tough with dirty air. And turning those fast laps like Cedric Hunter has been doing compared to Alex Coffey, that's only continuing to heat up his tires. So it's going to make it tough here, folks. He's got to be picture perfect. And right now, as he's gotten closer, it just hasn't been able to make the speed, and with 2 to go, he's going to have to gain a ton of time, or this 7's going to have a big mistake. And I mean, for Alex Coffey to go and win this stage if he holds on to this would be, I mean, a moment.
And now change up on where you want to be. Dirty air maybe was just too much of an issue, but the 31 going to be trying the outside lane, trying to build up some extra momentum as he rips the top, trying to close in the gap the best that he can. Wasn't able to do so through that 1 and 2. He'll go right back down to the inside lane, and now coming to the white flag as stage number 2. It's either going to be a caution because the drivers all completed this lap or because of an incident, but this stage is concluding, and a massive congrats to one of the drivers that's inside of the top 10, Chad Bean. What a run for the 9 as he's up to that of 8th place currently, battling with that of Blaze Crawford.
Great job there by Chad Beans. He clears that 76 machine to get himself up in position to get nice stage points here. And look at this, TJ Roberts, TJ Roberts there trying to go forward on Blaze.
And all contact's going to be between Gregory Shaw and that of Blaine Wilson. And the yellow flag comes out, and that will give Shaw the position as they were side by side out of turn 4.
Whew. Fireworks flying there off the exits of these corners and coming down to the end of the stage. And that's setting up for a wild ride for the rest of this race here for a lot of folks. But I think the biggest thing from that stage to take away, this 7 was involved in an incident, went to the back of the field, and drove his way to the front and still made good time there on those tires. That was so impressive.
Incredible just to see, and you know, that's just the poise and also the understanding on how to work these tires properly. How are the drivers going to evolve from here? Because that's another stage of knowledge. How will they now take as our 2 stages are done moving forward? As here's going to be your top 10. Alex Coffey going to get 1st place. Cedric Hunter going to get 2nd with Gavin Rogers, Steven Stympian, Adam Buzzio, Gregory Shaw, Blaine Wilson, Chad Bean going to get stage points for that 9 machine in 8th place. Blaze Crawford in 9th, and TJ Roberts going to take away the top 10 for the stage points as they're heading into pit road. I mean, Zach, 2 stages in. Man, this is, I'm seeing that this is going to have some more fireworks before this thing is done.
No doubt there, Sam. This is for sure going to have some fireworks fly. And with how this is going to play out with this final stage, too, with, you know, this caution here at lap 90, you got about, you know, right under 70 laps to go in this race. Be about 65 when we get back going. With the 80% fuel load, they're not going to be able to do that distance. So we're going to have to see a green flag stop if we somehow keep it green. But I tell you, it's going to make it a little bit of a split decision whether you want to save or just go.
Want to say a big shout out to everyone that's been watching so far here this evening, for everyone that's liked so far the race, and everyone that's been commenting. It's been a blast to watch everyone cheering for their favorite drivers, as Alex Coffey going to be winner of stage number 2, and also going to have stage 1 winner, that of Cedric Hunter are going to be deeper in the field for this restart. He's going to be in third place, losing actually a spot, just one spot to Gavin Rogers. Thought he lost more positions there, but a great run by the 7 machine of Alex Coffey, as he is our stage winner. We're going to set up and see if we can cue in that of this 7 machine, because what a run he had. And we can't wait to hear his thoughts on how that second stage went as he got to climb through the field. Let's get his cue up the 7 machine. Alex Coffey, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, stage number 2 winner. You had to do it the hard way here tonight, going through the field. But man, when you took that lead, you looked so strong. But how are you feeling in the cockpit winning that stage number 2?
Yeah, after the first stage incident, put a little fire under me, so ready to go get after it.
Definitely showed there, Alex, man. Congrats on the stage win there. But how surprising was it for you to those tires to hang on like that? Because you had to come from the complete rear of the field. I mean, that had to be a pretty good job there of managing that, even though you were out front.
Yeah, I'll say I was doing just as much hanging on as the tires were. They were. They felt like they were getting pretty bad, but after my pit stop, I don't guess I did too bad on them. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of split on if to save here or kind of do like last stage and just send it. Kind of trying to decide.
I mean, Alex, it seems like for the rest of the field, that is the tough decision on if you want to push or kind of conserve. How are you feeling, though, with the competition around you? It's been very hectic in the middle of the field, but how are you feeling with the racing around these other leaders here up front?
Yeah, there's a lot of aero games you can play with somebody without it looking like you're affecting them too much. So I'm sure there'll be a little bit of moves thrown and holes tried to. I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun. I'm ready.
And we can't wait for it. Well, Alex, we'll send you back to your team to get set up for this restart, and good luck, and hopefully we talk to you at the end of this race.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
That's going to be the 7 machine of Alex Coffey from CNC Esports, as his team has been trying to just survive in the middle of this field. But Zach, getting ready for this restart. Obviously, we've seen Gavin Rogers. We already know his game plan. That's be a very aggressive, try to get the lead position immediately. Alex Coffey there questioning what to do. That is an interesting thing to hear after 2 stages.
It really is. I mean, after what he did right there, I got to think that he's going to probably want to hold on to that top position. But you can't get stuck in a game of battling the 77. If the 77 goes out there and, drives as fast as he possibly can, you can't get played into doing that, because then you'll have drivers like Cedric Hunter, Steven Stippian, who've been very strong on the longer runs tonight, able to really, take advantage of that situation. So we'll see how it works out. But at the same time, again, they're not going to be able to make it on fuel here. I think this plays onto a situation where, it gets tough, because if you pit too early and you get caught by a caution also, you're in trouble. But I think you might see a few more drivers definitely full send it here, they should say.
As well, with the thought of a green flag pit stop, that is going to be in the back of the minds of all of these drivers. Alex Coffey, Gavin Rogers, the 77 and the 7, they've been up front all night long. That of Gavin Rogers that got the pole award to start this race off. Alex Coffey got the stage 2 win. Cedric Hunter in third, won stage number 1. All the hot competitors have been up front, and we're starting to see the swing of competitive drivers get back up front again as we're back under green flag conditions.
Great start once again from the control car there of the 7 of Alex Coffey. Cedric Hunter there, he's already taken up that second position. I'm interested to see what he does. He lost so many positions last time, dropping back. Does he elect to do a little different here, or does he do a similar thing because he's been so fast in the longer runs here?
As we're going to be seeing some drivers deciding to drop low. That's actually going to be the 3 of TJ Roberts. Not a great launch. That is number 2. But up front, Alex Coffey, he's going to leave this lap out of the corner. And Cedric Hunter, well, it looks like Zach, he is going to stay up front and challenge as he continues to go for the push for the lead.
I think he's noticed how strong that clean air is. Alex Coffey, so strong out front, was doing a great job with the clean air. Maybe he feels this is what's necessary to win this race, and that's where you take these stages and use them to your advantage. You got to learn as a driver and learn how the race is ebb and flowing. And right now, I think the 31, he's decided no longer to give up the positions like he did before. He wants to go up here and lead this race.
And Zach as well, this 51 of Gregory Shaw, again, questioning on the tire strategies. He decided to use one set over the rest of the field. He's down to just one set of tires for the rest of this race, which is going to be a tough task, especially in the fact that you're banking on the timings of those yellows to come out with the strategy calls now.
That you are, Sam. It's definitely something you got to be banking on a little bit. And here comes Adam Buzzio ripping that top side along with Gregory Shaw. And it seems like this is, you want to run fast, but you don't want to run too fast on that top groove. It seems like that's where the tires really start to fall off. And the 77, big move from him, though, for second as he dives it to the inside of the 7 machine. And they're going to be close off the exit of 2. And Cedric Hunter here, he's going to pick and choose where he wants to go. And the 77 might look to take it 3 wide here. Aggressive moves being made up front.
3 wide for the lead. It's going to be seen that is Cedric Hunter in the middle, the 7 on the outside, 77 on the bottom. Is it the lucky numbers as they'll make it through turn number 4 and across the line? Give it to that of the 77, Gavin Rogers, by 0.006 of a second. It was close, but contact, the 7 dumped into the outside wall. It was just a little bit of a back bump to the 31, and it goes wrong for the 7.
Hanging on to that thing. Great wheelmanship there from the 7, Alex Coffey. And looking his car over myself, no big damage. That's huge for him. Don't give up yet on that 7 machine. He drove up through the field before. He's just going to be a little bit more on a mission now.
And he's still inside of the top 10, so we can still recover from there. But taking the lead position, it's the Get Wet Sports machine, the 51 of Gregory Shaw. He wants to win here tonight for the Get Wet Sports 250, if it's possible. But they're 3 wide once again in the middle of the field. And of course it would be Alex Coffey moving up to 5th now.
Big movements there from the 7 machine once again, just driving forward here, using his stuff. And right now, he's got the 5 machine right directly ahead of him. What's he going to do here? Is he going to elect to go low? Is he going to split them 3 wide? He goes low with the 31 machine. Here is now the 77 all over the back bumper of the 51. And it's stacking up from that first position on back. Everybody trying to go forward here, and we might get some incidents.
Oh, there's almost some contact between the 76 and the 78 as that of Blaze Crawford almost spinning out Mason Hausman, which is going to be causing this huge split that we're seeing now on screen of our top that of 7. And mixing in this group, 6th place runner, it's the 14 of Brad Delph. Where did he come from?
Where did he come from? Like you said, that was a big movement there for the 14. Now the 31 to the inside of the 51 here. It's almost 3 wide here for the lead. Everybody going for it. It looks like nobody's willing to give in. They're ready to try to go forward and get some clean air. As now Rogers thought about a move on the 51, but he's all over the back bumper and he's wrecking him.
It's going to be holding off for now, but it's going to be that of Cedric Hunter in the 77, the 7 pushing the 31. Everyone getting a little wiggly there with some of the bumps, and it's now going to close in. What once was a gap from that of 7 to the rest of the pack is closed everyone back on top of one another.
That it really has here, and Buzzio takes advantage of it. He says, thank you, guys. I'll take the lead. But here's Brad Delph in the 14. He's utilized the top side, and he's driven up the second here in this run. And this is getting just, completely wild. You got Cody Reed coming in the 25 in the background. Every single driver willing to risk everything right now.
Well, you got to see Michael Giaminti, who's been struggling to have a good finish for the 55. Here's another driver who's been struggling for a good finish. It's the 14, Brad Delph, wanting his camera time here this evening, but it's going to be for the final stages. He'll drop into 3rd, waiting to see what to happen here as the 14 bounces off the wall in the center of the straightaway. That's not where you want to be, but it gives him great launch in the center, in the entry of the corner.
That it does. That was great to see him hold on to that machine. There is now to the inside of Gregory Shaw, trying to pull a little side draft here as the inside line is going to have a little bit of help from the 77 of Gavin Rogers here. So he now dits out to the outside, maybe trying to make a move there and make that happen. But man, it's just very aggressive moves, and the 51 loose there off of 2. Almost wrecking for him is now Brad Delph sliding back here to 3rd.
It's going to be hurting that of Brad Delph just a little bit. It's the inside lane that's able to push forward. But obviously, you're trying to find the lane that's going to be making you move forward as Adam Buzzio slightly loose in the center of the corner. But he's going to carry the momentum to at least hold off for 2nd place. So you're side by side for 3rd. Brad Delph continues to hold steady. It's the 25, though, in that of the black and green 25 machine. Haven't talked about Cody Reed that often here tonight. He's been just outside of the top 10 for most of this evening. Well, he'll crack into the top 5 now.
Big runs from the outside lane. Everybody that's gone up there has been making speed. But again, that's the point I worry about, that outside lane. It just seems like the speed carried up there is just too much for the tire, and it really hurts the drivers as the run continues on. But you can see here, nobody's willing to back down. They're trying to go forward here as it's Gregory Shaw once again fighting for the lead. And now Reed's going to have the outside of the 14 here coming off a 2. He's going to look to get up in the 3rd.
And as well, having the driver that was just bounced into the outside wall just out of around 10 laps ago, Alex Coffey. I mean, the fact that he's still in the fight is incredible with how fast he went backwards after some of the contact as Chad Bean going to be rushing in front of some of the drivers. That Richard Wolsifer is going to go down to the apron. They hold on for there. A little bit of a scary move in the middle of the pack, but they'll hold steady for now. They'll resettle in, but now all the chaos, it's up for the lead once again. As for 3rd place, it's Cody Reed and Alex Coffey side by side.
Somehow these guys have kept it green. I don't know how they've done it with some of the aggressive moves being made, the maneuvers sliding up the racetrack, down the racetrack. It's really made for some great racing here, though, for us up here in the booth as the 25 of Reed. Like you said, I mean, just coming out of nowhere here to go forward. And, I mean, for how long is going to be the question. I think a lot of drivers are going to say, how long can you hold on to that top side as they're close off the exit 2? Reed almost down into the 5. Almost a major incident.
Almost a major incident, but they hold steady. They hold their breath for another lap as Gregory Shaw continues the lead. But as I'm watching this pack and the way that it's been developing, Carl Pooler, that is Cedric Connor, Steven Stimpian, they have just sat and waited outside of the top 5. They have been in a spot and position where they were holding the inside groove. Carl Pooler's now going to move up to that outside lane, but I got to say, for the smoking drivers, they've stayed low for the majority of this time while all the chaos has been rambling up the lead as Cody Reed now takes that lead spot. I mean, it is patience for some, aggressive for others, and they're all within a half a second of one another.
It seems like split mindsets out here tonight at the racetrack. Everybody trying to get the lead while others are trying to survive and make it to the end of this race and have a good enough set of tires left underneath them. But you can see right here, Reed to that lead, but Shaw was able to immediately jump to the quarter panel, and now he's going around the outside of that 25, and he's pulled the 7 along with him, and I think that's a bad sight to see if you're the rest of the field. That 7, once he got to the lead in the last stage, he was lights out.
Well, here's the thing, Zach. We're still waiting for our last green flag pit stop. They cannot take it from when that last restart was to the end of this race. They still need to pit. And with how aggressive Alex Coffey is, that 7's got to be careful, because if he gets into any more trouble, he doesn't have that life, wrap with them. He's already used his fast repair, and he wants the lead now for that of Alex Coffey.
Big side draft from the 7 machine down into 3. Can he clear, though? This is going to be the key. That 51 has been able to rip the top in 3 and 4, and he's able to do it once again to hold back the 7, and this may open up the door for the 77 to get to the 7's quarter panel, and that's what you don't want to see. You don't want to get pulled back by that 2nd place driver holding you back here, trying to go for the lead on that driver in front of you.
And it almost has settled in the back of all is well with the way this race has been. All the drivers have been up front as a quick squeeze to that of Alex Coffey coming out of the corner to that of the corner panel, going to be side by side, almost brushing doors as the 77 and the 7. I mean, I know 7's a lucky number, but they've got to figure out a way to get around or away from each other. Otherwise, we could see calamity, as we saw there back at Bristol, striking here at Las Vegas. You got to be careful as Gregory Shaw continues to hold on, but all the way to the outside lane. Watch out for the run from that of Alex Coffey here.
Off the top rope, but into the wall, and that's going to stop the run he was going to have, and Gregory Shaw going to be able to hold on here for now and make his way forward, or keep that lead. As it seems like everybody now starting to like to go to that bottom lane here as they're holding on for positions.
High risk, high rewards, and it's going to be a loss at a quick moment for that of 7, but he gains it all back on the exit of turn 4. So maybe it wasn't too much of a risk to take, especially in the fact that these small little taps on the exit of the wall, not too bad to handle for themselves. This field is getting chaotic as Gregory Shaw, Alex Coffey side by side once again.
That they are side by side for that lead position, and at some point you got to think the 51's tires give up. I mean, he's been ripping that top. It's done that the last few times for the people who's been out front doing that. I just got to question how long it'll happen as we pull up our wall of drivers here. We get to see all the different types of rigs here, Sam, and they're all got the focus face on.
They all got it for sure. As on that top lane, it's a top row of drivers from left to right. It's Carl Pooler, Steven Stimpian, that of Richard Wolsifer, and Nigel Christensen on the bottom. It's going to be that of Adam Buzzio, Dakota Camper, and Gavin Rogers, all focus and trying to hit their marks. As you can see, everyone trying to stay steady, but Zach, all having the same focus face, trying to wheel these vehicles here tonight.
This is my favorite thing to see, man. You get to see just the focus, the fear, the pure admiration in all of these drivers' faces, and every single one of them is just focused straight forward on that monitor or whatever they have to see in front of them. So great stuff. Love this cam of walls here, and we're gonna see who one of these drivers can maybe get themselves up in position to battle for this win, as it's getting spicy. The 31's back in the picture. His tires are coming to life.
He's back in the picture, as well as the 78 of Mason Hausman. Going to be just watching our top four for now, as Steven Stimpian hasn't been able to really make the march forward for himself. But again, it's Gregory Shaw. Zach, somehow he survives a little bit of a bump. Is that of Alex Coffey going to be tapped on the rear end by Gavin Rogers? It's going to get both of them losing time, as Cedric Hunter says thank you for that 2-to-1 meal. I'll now move up to second and go for the lead.
That was the best thing possible for that 31. The 7 in this double, or in the double 7 there, they just cannot get away from each other. Like you said, Sammy, look, he's going to fight back to the quarter panel here, coming off a 2. And these two, they love the battle, man. I tell you that much. They have definitely put on a show in these first 2 seasons battling each other, but they just cannot get away from each other, and sometimes to the detriment as they're battling. Now Cedric Hunter trying to go for the lead up front.
Going for the lead. Will we see carnage or will we see a victor? As we're 121 laps in, we still have 40 laps to go and still one more pit stop to finish out this race. And it's going to be Cedric Hunter, our stage 1 winner, back to the point up front, as this is the battle for 3rd place going on. And who else would it be late in the race? It's Blaze Crawford up to 5th.
Fighting hard is Blaze there in that 76. He's got that 78 who just got in the wall that stacked up that outside line. That allowed him to prevail forward there, as he's, like he said, now up to 5th. He sees the battling in front of him, and the 51 also in 2nd. They can't let that 31 get away, though. That 31, I mean, we saw how fast he was on the longer runs. Now with that clean air, he may be gone if these other drivers don't get a good group up going here.
As it's side by side in front of Blaze, it's side by side behind this 76. He is just seeing a wall, and there's not many opportunities where to go unless you want to go all the way to the outside, which this late into a run, you really don't want to do, as these drivers going to be 30 laps on these tires for themselves. Any mistake at this point could be majorly costly for themselves, especially for that of the 7 and the 76. Both drivers that have already used their fast repairs, if they're caught up in a big one, that could be the end of their night.
I mean, this has been some intense battling between those two. They have stayed side by side now for over 3 laps, coming here to make it 4 in a row. And it's great for us up here in the booth, not great for them, because they are losing tons of time here to the leaders up front. But I think Coffey may be able to clear here down into 1, and that will solidify it. Coffey holding on to the position there in front of Gavin Rogers, but here comes Blaze Crawford, and even Steven Stimpian in the background gets to the outside of the 78. Here he comes in the 81.
I mean, it's for that of Steven Stimpian. He's just been staying in 7th, 8th position this whole entire run. He really hasn't pushed forward. He's kind of just stayed steady. But it's going to be that of Blaine Wilson, who now moves up. He is going to be on 3rd driver in the fray. Is Coffey going to get a little bit of a tap? He keeps it off the wall. Going to be staying in the middle, and somehow Calamity holds on again.
Oh man, those two. They have, like I said, they just can't stay off of one another. I think the 77, he caught the apron, and that's what shot him up into the 7 machine. And again, that's going to only continue their little bit of rivalry throughout this season. And right now, that is helped more than anybody. That 76 machine of Blaze Crawford, that has freed him for the second position. Now will he have the tires to charge up for?
You say the second position, I mean, that of Gregory Shaw, I still am absolutely puzzled on how the 51 has been able to stay up front. But again, it's been that talking point of being aggressive. We would think that would be a huge detriment on your tires, but honestly, I think due to the fact that 51 had that fresh air, it allowed him to protect these tires even with that aggression. And now Gregory Shaw, he might have over that 7/10 of a second off of that Cedric Hunter, but in a good spot for a great finish here this season, for this race this season. Exactly what Shaw needs, just change up his momentum as we are heading in to our All-Star break next week, where we're going to be taking a break for ourselves. But Zach, these drivers, they might need a little bit of a break after the way they've been racing here tonight.
I completely agree, Sam. This 51, so impressive from him, because that first run of the race, he did something similar. Didn't work out very well for him. But this time, he figured it out. He's figured out how to keep it together. He's going to have a hungry driver right behind him in Blaze Crawford, who is flying right now, one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, really the only driver in the 31-second bracket. So we'll see if he can hold on. But that 76, he's turned beast mode on.
Trouble for the driver, though. The 81 is Steven Stimpian. He got loose out of the corner of exit number 4, lost over 4 positions. He'll drop to that at 10th place. He was on the move. But Zach, we're now 35 laps on these tires. I mean, just one mental relapse, that could be the reason why you go backwards at this point.
That it really could be. And look at this, Steven Stimpian not gonna waste no time. A drift here into pit road. And I tell you what, when it's like that, that means you're carrying a lot of speed. So let's see how this equates for him, because pit road's about to get real busy, I think, here in the next few laps.
And pit road speed going to be 50 miles per hour. And that 81 might have looked hectic and crazy into pit road, but he hit that marker perfectly. No black flag on speeding on entry and into his box. Clean, didn't slide through. Now he bounced up to that of the drivers in the middle of the pack. Here's where we find Cody Reed. At one moment, he was finding himself with trouble as he'll hold on somehow. He'll now try to coast his way into pit road. It looks to be potentially, and he will make it into pit road cleanly. That could have been a yellow right there.
Oh, man. What a wild moment that was for Cody Reed there as he hangs onto that machine. And that shows you, if you don't get off the banking right and you have about the right rear tire on that banking, it just sends you around when you hit the brake. And that's what we saw from Cody Reed, but a heck of a save.
Let's go for our leaders. Gavin Rogers, Blaine Wilson making contact with one another as Cedric Hunter as well as Blaze Crawford into pit road. Just a misunderstanding. I don't think Blaine saw over the driver chat that a 77 was coming into pit road and just runs over Gavin Rogers.
Oh, man. Big moments there. But I tell you what the biggest moment was, other than that, was, there was more contact on the exit of the pit road there. I think at the one of Mike Thomas and some other drivers. But right here, this 31 pit from the lead. He had about a 1 second lead to Blaze Crawford. Guess what? Blaze Crawford here is going to come off pit road on the back bumper. So the 31 here, he's going to have some issues because that 76 had the entry of a lifetime.
I mean, when you've had the experience that Blaze Crawford has, you learn the maxes and the limits of these vehicles, and he certainly found the limit on the entry and maximized his way. And now that whole entire advantage out the window for that of Cedric Hunter. I mean, Zach, it just looks like shades of last week. Blaze Crawford looking like the favorite at the end of this race.
That he really is here, Sam. This is going to be tough for Cedric Hunter because that 76 was so fast at the end of the run. I was watching his lap times. He was very quick, and now this will be what one cycles through the battle for the lead, folks. Right now, they're in 14th and 15th, but when we get back to everybody having hit pit road after this, this is the battle that we're going to have to watch.
Currently, though, it's going to be the 31 and the 76 still out there, a one lap down. They're trying to catch up to that of Gregory Shaw, who crosses the start-finish line now, so there's still a pretty good gap. That Gregory Shaw, again, only has one set of tires left in this race. Same for that of Blaine Wilson. Both of these drivers have to max out on their fuel and tires before they come into pit road. This is a troublesome spot for them because if this race stays green, that 51 and the 18 are throwing away a great finish for themselves.
This is a tough sight to see for them. I'm surprised they haven't got the pit road yet. I think the 5 machine, Adam Buzzio, he's coming this time. for Adam. But yeah, Blaine Wilson, Gregory Shaw here looking to take it much longer into this run, and I don't know if it's going to be too much worth it.
Well, again, they're banking on that yellow to come out. They've only got one more set of tires left, so if they come into pit road and then a caution comes out, the rest of the field still have that extra set that they can utilize and use for the end of this race. It's those mind games. You take the great opportunities. It's Gregory Shaw into pit road now. Blaine Wilson will decide to stay out for another lap. TJ Roberts, see if he'll come into pit road with the 51. But again, you cannot get caught with having issues, and one driver has been caught with issues. That's the 55 of Michael Giaminti, who was caught speeding on entry. He had a 40-second hold. The rest of these drivers that are out there on track, you cannot get that 40-second hold if you got caught speeding on that entry.
The very interesting thing too, Sam, kind of running through my mind here is this is going to be such a different run to the end of this race. We've seen the pack racing happen as here the leader is Blaine Wilson. He's going to get caught by Cedric Hunter and Blaze Crawford. That was so close there to 31. Had to make a last-ditch effort to get to the outside, and that could have gave up the possible lead when this all cycles through. But like I was saying is, this is going to be a run where you're not in a pack. You're more spaced out, so you're going to be able to really pace yourself and do different things here to be able to make that tire last. This is going to make for a very interesting ending here where the drivers didn't really have to worry about running too wide, lap after lap in a pack.
Yeah, and we still have three drivers that have to come into pit road. That of Blaine Wilson, TJ Roberts, and Nigel Christensen still out there on track. And they've got to hope they're clear over the radios when they indicate they're coming to pit road, that no other driver runs over them, because I've already seen that happen a couple of times, even under this green flag pit cycle of drivers getting ran over after miscommunications. As we continue to stay green, Blaine Wilson, that TJ Roberts, Nigel Christensen, Zach, I would imagine they're thinking about pit road here shortly, but the longer they stay out, this is just going to be more and more difficult on any recovery run for themselves, because we talked about Gregory Shaw. He was up front in second place when this pit cycle started. He's currently in 11th right now.
Yeah, he's a good bit back. It's going to be tough to come back from that. And again, I think like you said earlier, they're just banking on a caution at this point. They're hoping something plays out with drivers on different sets of tires here, different strategies all around that cause people to have incidents. So we'll see how it works out, but it seems like Blaine Wilson coming down this time.
Into pit road this go around as TJ Roberts will stay out for another lap for himself. Going to be taking the lead for the 3. Who again was part of those drivers during stage 2, decided to come to pit road and take the advantage of fresh rubber to get better stage points, but could it have backfired for the finish here tonight for this race, as Mike Thomas going to be into that on the outside wall with the 3 machine to his inside.
Ooh, big contact there to the outside wall for the 1 machine. It keeps it all together, and that allows that 3 machine to hold on to that lead position, as the 1 is a 4 laps down right now, but the 1 is on fresher tires, so I'm kind of surprised to see the 1 still holding back here around the 3 machine. But when will TJ Roberts blink here? I mean, even Christensen there, they're on 48 laps old tires. At some point they're going to have to pit here because it's a 50 or 80% fuel load here. I don't see him going much more than 5 to 10 laps.
And with that move, it seems to be the indication of 3 thinking about pit road, as that was a very odd blocking move. And it looks to be he'll stay out. That is a bizarre move to see by the 3 of TJ Roberts, just not confident on where he wants to be, as drivers trying to unlap themselves that have already come into pit road.
That they are, Sam, unlapping themselves. And this is going to be a pretty sketchy moment here with the 8 Kubinek going by, the 57 of DeRoches in the 3. I mean, you just see the speed difference. Look at how much time he's given up. I mean, 32.90 last time by. And you got Cedric Hunter, who's leading the way on the freshest tires, 31.54. I mean, you're looking at over almost a second and a half of time being given up each and every lap you stay out here.
I'm trying to look at the data to see if these lap times, and it looks to be that TJ Roberts is so off the pace here, Zach. I mean, I'm curious if maybe he is trying to just save extra fuel by going this slow. But I mean, that distance that he's trying to carry, you're trying to find a way to save over an extra 10 laps of fuel if you're this 3 machine, as Nigel Christensen comes into pit road. This 3 is banking on a miracle at this point, was continuing to stay out with less than 20 to go.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, that's all he can do at this point is kind of bank on a miracle. I mean, I don't see any way he saves enough fuel here to make this. That would be, I mean, well out of the possibility. And even if he does, he's going to have to go so slow that I think Cedric Hunter, Blaze Crawford, and them, they're going to catch up actually to him.
They are, and things are getting interesting for that a second back to 8th place as that a TJ Roberts heads into pit road. He's hoping to not miss his entry. But Zach, this is where the battle for what should be the lead position is. Cedric Hunter, Blaze Crawford, they had over a massive gap to that of Gavin Rogers as they pitted a lap or two sooner than those other drivers. But just a half a second back. It's less than a half a second now. Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey, Mason Hausman, Stephen Borbell, that of Gregory Scholl, Steven Stimpian. Stimpian, excuse me, is not part of this group, but the top 7 are all on top of one another now.
Yeah, and also you got Nigel Christensen on newer tires trying to pass Cedric Hunter and having a tough time doing it right here. This is not what you're going to want to see if you're at 31 car because this is holding you up. You can't exit the way you want. And right now, the 20 just not getting around him quick enough to make a difference here.
Not making a difference, and a driver that just cost himself so much time was that of Gregory Scholl. He was about to make the pass on that of Stephen Borbell. He had the freshest tires, the 51, out of control, and he was a part of this pack. Now has lost touch after a mistake, after contact between himself and the 2 with 15 to go. You can't make simple mistakes. It's now down to our top 5 of drivers that have been up front for the majority of the night. And it's down to that Cedric Hunter, who won stage number 1. Blaze Crawford, who started all the way back in last place. Gavin Rogers, who got the pole award. Alex Coffey, who won stage number 2. And then it's Mason Hausman, who has fought and clawed to put himself into this position for an opportune chance of a good finish.
What a crazy ending to this race we're about to have. And here's the 3 of TJ Roberts. He's pulling out in the fresh tires. Cedric Hunter once again getting the bad end of the stick there, being side by side with a car coming right out of pit road. He's got to have a bad exit off of 4. And this is just going to stack him back up closer to the 76 here of Blaze. And he's going to really hope those cars in front of him get going because you don't want dirty air for too long here. That's just going to hurt yourself. And my question is, we've seen Blaze and Cedric Hunter, running much slower times than the group behind them. When does it come back around to where they've saved enough here to hold this group back?
Trying to hold this group back. A driver, though, that's limping currently, as our leaders have already gone by him, the 56, Richard Wolsifer. I don't know if he just had a bad center of the corner or tried to bring out a caution for help out his teammate, but it did not work out for that at 56. He's going to have to come to pit road with required damage, as it is going to be Cedric Hunter, Blaze Crawford, Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey, Mason Hausman. Going to be the top 5. Mistake by that of Gregory Scholl, who actually made an amazing pit stop strategy, but bad driving calls for himself. Not going to work out for 51 to try to win his sponsored race. It's now to the end of this run as Steven Stimpian. He's going to slowly try to gain up to this group, but Zach, I mean, it's really between our top 2 as Blaze Crawford side by side for the lead now.
Oh man, he's been able to power move it to the outside of the 31, and they turned up the wick as soon as they got to him with the 77. And I think that's been Blaze Crawford's cue to say, I gotta go. And we'll see, can he make the pass around the outside? It's been tight here all night long. This battle side by side, though, if the 76 can get it done, it's going to help them out because it won't allow them to catch up from behind. And Cedric Hunter, he's going to fight tooth and nail here with 10 laps to go.
And to go here tonight, it's going to be that of Cedric Hunter. Trying to hold steady on the inside of Blaze Crawford. Gonna make that outside lane power move work for himself. Trying to win his second race in 3 starts is the 76 machine. He came into this series as one of the odds-on favorites. You don't usually see a driver come into a league, Zach, that just automatically going to be the favorite at every race you go to. Even if he qualifies last, he's got a chance to win. That's exactly what Blaze Crawford is.
Yeah, I think maybe pulling a little bit of playing possum by qualifying that far back in the beginning of these races, then deciding late in the race to find that speed that 76 has. But Cedric Hunter ain't giving up. He's fighting hard here. He knows that if this 76 gets by him, it may be his last shot. And with the 76 running that outer groove, it's going to hurt those tires. So we'll see how this works out. They're luckily able to make enough speed here to hold the still be running faster than the group behind them, but not that lap. It was about 2/10 quicker, and Cedric Hunter holds on. Now Blaze Crawford is going to have to come back at him because I think he noticed the outside groove is not working the way he wanted to.
Maybe just, again, playing a little bit more opossum, trying to make this finish a little bit more interesting for the 76 as he settles back in. The outside lane has been so dominant at times, but now just watches the Hello Kitty machine, who's also, we saw that at the 76 get his first win in the Wicked Racing League history books. That of the 31, trying to do the same to get himself etched in and be that of the 4th different first-time winner in 8 races.
That would be amazing to see, and they're catching up here to some lap traffic. It's Michael G and Mitty in the 55. This is going to put Cedric Hunter in a tough spot here because they're both going to run that top groove. And again, just not the preferred way here once the tires start to wear out. It seems like that bottom is the way to go. It looks like Blaze starting to struggle possibly a little loose off of 4. Cedric Hunter able to build a little tiny bit of a gap. This was 6 to go here. It's any driver's game here up in the top 4, I believe.
And Gavin Rogers just about that of a half a second off of Blaze Crawford is the difference between 2nd and 3rd place. Trying to close in as we ride still on board with the 77 here. 6 to go. And if Cedric Hunter wins this race, he would be the 4th first-time winner of the Wicked Racing League history for this season in 8 races. And Zach, he would continue the streak of 8 races and 8 different winners. I mean, this is certainly, this 2nd season for the Wicked Racing League's been incredible so far already. But Blaze Crawford backing off. Is he trying to set something up here for that of 31?
It could possibly be, but at the same time, I'm seeing him get loose off of 4 each and every lap, and that's starting to tell me that it's tough. That dirty air is just making it where it is very tough to make anything happen. And again, even through the center corner, I see that rear end stepping out just a little bit, and Cedric Hunter continuing to open up the gap. This 31 looks like he's weathered the storm here, but it ain't over yet. He's got to be picture perfect here coming to 4 to go.
4 to go, and that means 3 potential laps of a yellow that could come out, and there's a couple of duels that are around these drivers that we could see a caution flag wave. We've seen the drivers try to work with one another that are close to one another. That is the battling for that of 4th and 5th, where Mason Hausman and Alex Coffey are, with Adam Buzzio trying to drive his way through with fresh rubber through all of this clustering. But with 3 laps to go, the one group that's really given me a little bit of a headache move, it's got to be the group for 9th, 10th, and 11th place. Those are 5 drivers that cannot get away from one another.
That they cannot. Look at this group just battling it up here. Cody Reed, Brad Delph, Gregory Shaw in contact, almost there. That is almost going to bring... Oh no, this is not what you want to see, and they're wrecking
and
here.
there it goes. They're going to be bouncing off the wall with one another, but they keep it straight somehow, as there was a lot of bumps of drivers just trying to get into the throttle too soon, almost bringing out the yellow flag. 2 laps to go, and that was the heart-stopping moment for Cedric Hunter. He might have not have known it, but us up at the booth, we knew that there was an opportune chance of that caution. Still a half lap to go before that white flag, and the white flag will make this race an official race. We will not go into overtime at that point. And here comes the 31 through 3 and 4. Adam Buzzio, lap down driver, fresh rubber. He'll make the outside pass, but it's the 31 by over a half a second, getting the Freaky Fast white flag. If you'd like to sponsor the white flag, message us on Facebook at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But Zach, a half a second gap lead is the 31 to Blaze Crawford.
He has weathered the storm. He's driven a perfect last half of this race. After winning stage 1, it looks like the 31 is going to be the 4th first-time winner this season.
And it's here at Las Vegas, the Get Wet Sports 250. Mark it down. 4 first-time winners this season. 8 races, 8 different winners. It's that of Cedric Hunter winning here tonight.
Oh, man, and they had a crazy finish coming for 3rd. I mean... The 7, the 77, and the 78, those 3 just, they know where to be together when it comes down to these races. And they cross the line. I mean, wrecking. The 7 comes home 3rd. And wow, what a turn of events here at Las Vegas. But Cedric Hunter, I mean, holding off Blaze Crawford there, you got to give him a round of applause, everybody. That was a heck of a race between those top two there.
Incredible run by that of Cedric Hunter and Blaze Crawford. Made it interesting at the end. There were plenty of different factors that could have happened there, but it was down to the two that pitted sooner than everyone else there in the top 5. That made it fun at the end. Cedric Hunter gets to burn it down here at Las Vegas under the lights. And for us, we get to cool down for a quick second, but don't leave. We got the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 2 and a spotlight driver right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the Wicked Racing League. What a wild night, and those green flag pit stops certainly made things crazy there at the end, where we got to see the great duel between Cedric Hunter, Blaze Crawford. We thought we were going to see the mix and mingle of other drivers, but it just wasn't there. But we're going to head to victory lane to start things off with the 31 of Cedric Hunter, get his thoughts of this race. Man, Cedric, it's Sam and Zach of the booth. What a run for yourself.
Yeah, man. I've obviously a couple or about a month ago, I was fortunate enough, I guess, to have a newborn daughter that entered this world. So I unfortunately had to take a step back pretty much for the rest of the season. But I had Las Vegas circled in my calendar, man, and I'm so glad that I was able to pull it off.
That you were, man. How was it weathering that storm there, man? I tell you what, like that had to be tough.
Yeah, man. Like especially the last run. Like I wasn't. Well, I saw Blaze, I guess, get into third, right before pit stops. I'm like, okay, like he's coming. It's just a matter of time. Like he saved his stuff, and he'll be a threat for the win. And when I went down pit road, my God, the amount of time he gained on me just blew me away. And I was like, from that point on, I knew it was on, and I had a massive gap, and I had to save tires, and obviously I did a pretty good job at that, and I saw that uh, Gavin and Coffee were slowly, creeping up on us. So I was also just trying to back Blaze, I guess, into them because I knew if they all started racing each other, then that would for sure seal it up for me. And Blaze had a really good run, man. It was really fun to race him there, and um, I'll say like the last maybe 35 laps, I was pretty much only looking out my mirror.
I mean, Cedric, you get this win. You're now the 8th driver. 8 races, 8 different winners. I mean, how does this feel going into the All-Star break, knowing that you got the rest of the regular season, then the playoffs that you're setting up for? I mean, how does this pressure feel getting off?
It feels good, man. It feels like a weight lifted off the shoulders. I don't know if I'll be able to run, I guess, with more consistency throughout the rest of the season. I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully, I guess I'll be able to. Well, obviously, I clinched my way into the playoffs with this win, but hopefully, I can actually use that and then possibly go race for a title. But I don't know, man. We'll see what the future entails. Obviously, the regular season, from my understanding, isn't close to being completed, so we still got a little bit to go.
Well, Cedric, congratulations on this win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I want to give you guys a huge shout out for everything that you guys do. It's much appreciated. Obviously, tonight on Wednesday nights, but also we have you guys on, or at least you broadcast my races also on Saturdays and Mondays. So it's much appreciated. Obviously, you guys know that I love all the work that you guys do. I want to thank all the fans out there for tuning in on a nightly basis, and anybody that knows me knows that I normally run a 13, but in this case, I will say everybody that supports a 31 car for tonight. And thanks to all the drivers, raced me pretty clean there, and it was fun to see all the different strategies and how all that stuff played out throughout the race. So great job to everybody, and hopefully I'll see these guys again later this season.
Well, that's going to be the 31 machine. Cedric Hunter, congratulations on your win and punching your ticket to the playoffs, and good luck after this All-Star break into the next few races.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
As we go from that of first place in victory lane, let's head to second place to the driver that had an incredible pit stop and get how his thoughts were at the end of this run. Blaze it, Sam and Zach of the booth. Congratulations on a second place finish here tonight, man. It just seemed like you were right there, almost had the chance to take the lead. But man, how are you feeling coming away with second place finish?
I'm happy. I had an absolute blast. That race was really fun to get green flag stops in, racing with Cedric there for the lead. Yeah, I thought maybe I had a chance to get around him and made the move with about 15 to go. And when I did, I got side by side with him, and I think he had saved his stuff just as much as I did, and he was just a little bit faster than me, and I just couldn't quite get clear and got my stuff hot on the outside. And after that, I knew he kind of had it in the bag. But I'm happy. That was a really fun race, and yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was a great battle there, Blaze, man. I tell you guys were going at it, and I was going to ask you if you felt like the outside was what heated up those tires there a little bit, because even I think, do you feel like the dirty air played a little factor there, coming out so close behind him there and kind of trying to ride in that wake?
Oh yeah, I came in like a second behind him and rolled out on his bumper, and I think with these cars, the dirty airs, it's definitely not great when you're in second, and it's definitely an advantage as the leader. But I mean, even though it's an advantage being the lead, Cedric's a great driver. I know he was in Road to Pro Round 2 in 2021, I think it was. He's always been really fast, as long as I can remember. So, but yeah, I think the bottom is just a little bit better. You were able to pinch. I didn't want to pinch him too hard when I was passing him, but maybe I should have tried it a little bit quicker and rolled around him to maybe take the lead to get that clean air, but just couldn't quite do it, and he was just a little faster at the end.
Well, Blaze, congratulations again on a second place finish. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I got to give a shout out to my main man, Max or Brady, on the spotter stand tonight. Just want to say congrats again to Cedric, and great racing to everyone in the field. I'm really happy I think we did like an 80 lap green flag run. So can't thank the field enough for another good race here tonight. And thank you guys for the awesome broadcast tonight. Really appreciate you guys.
Well, that's going to be the 76 machine of Blaze Crawford from last place up to second, almost getting the win, but still a solid run. Blaze, congratulations. Enjoy this all-star break, and we'll see you at the Roval.
Thank you, guys.
As we go from second place, we'll head to our spotlight driver, which was caught up in the very first wreck of tonight's race, but was able to recover, rebound, and still come away with a top 10 finish. We're going to talk to that of Blaine Wilson. Blaine, it's Sam and Zach up the booth. You got us?
I got you.
Well, you come away with that of a sixth place finish. You were caught up in some early trouble. How was it mentally trying to recover from those early troubles and just trying to survive to make it to the end of this race?
Yeah, so I didn't know we were 3 wide. Spotter didn't say 3 wide, but we were, and I didn't overestimated my entry in that corner and caused that accident. That is on me. But we were able to recover from that. Somehow I had horrible tires. Got back up to about 10th in that stage, and that really helped us out. Didn't have a lot of short run speed, which is why I tried the pit strategy, staying out a little bit longer, seeing if it would work. We got back up to 6th, which is cool. I think we could have got a couple more laps, but good info for next time because we don't really get green flag stops too often, so that was really fun.
It was definitely looked like it was a good blast there, Blaine. I mean, like we were talking about, you were involved in that incident. How tough was it to get back up there actually? Because it seemed like it was very much pack racing there for majority of it, and then it started to spread out as those tires wore out.
Yeah, this was crazy compared to last season here at this track where it was pretty much everyone's on the bottom, and that's it. You can kind of pick any lane you want here. If you can make it stick, it works, which was really challenging because that pack racing, it can be scary. I mean, it's white knuckles. Especially if you're in the middle of a 3 wide situation on this front stretch with that curve, it can get really freaky. I'm glad we kept it as clean as we did, experiencing that. That's really cool to see for this league overall, the improvement on that too.
Well, Blaine, an incredible recovery run for yourself to finish in that 6th place. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I want to shout out Carter and Cade once again for tuning in, as well as David Bell, Christopher Bell's father, coming in to see Nigel race, which is super cool. And Nigel himself as well. He talked me through that last stage, kept me calm, getting into the pits, told me when to go, things like that. And without him, it probably wouldn't have happened that way.
Well, that's going to be the 18 machine of Blaine Wilson coming away with a 6th place finish. Congratulations on that, and enjoy your All-Star break.
Thank you.
As we go from our interviews, let's take a look at the unofficial results here tonight after an incredible run. That long green flag run, Zach, that we knew that was going to come at some point, finally struck, and it certainly did change things at the end.
That it really did. This was a good ending to the night, man. It was fantastic racing, and I think it really changed things up there with those green flag stops coming down to the end. It really made for quite the battle for our group right here as we look at those results.
Here's where your top 10 are going to be finishing. Winning here tonight going to be that of Cedric Connor, and second going to be Blaze Crawford, who we got to talk with. Alex Coffey going to come away with third, with Gavin Rogers in fourth. That of Mason Hausman in fifth after their incredible finish at the end of the line. Blaine Wilson going to come away with sixth. Seventh goes to that of Steven Stimpian. Stephen Borbell going to come away with eighth, with Cody Reed ninth, and it's Alex Light going to come away with that 10th place position. The rest of the field just were trying to survive, and for some they did, others they didn't.
That they did not, man. And as you see the rest of that order there, it's just some, it was a tough racetrack here tonight. It seemed like when it got away from you, it got away very quickly, and I think that's what happened to a few of these guys farther back in this group. So just one of those endings. And even, I mean, if you look at Adam Buzzio back in 24th, that was so close, or close for him for being, not the greatest night, because I think a mistake on pit road there at the end sets him back to 24th.
Back to 24th, and had to make an extra pit stop. Didn't want to do so, but that was how the cookie's going to crumble for some of these drivers. A wild night here at Las Vegas, but this is going to be a break for these drivers. They have the All-Star break next week, as they're going to be having some fun with some F1 machines at Monza. For us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, though, we're going to take a week break for ourselves because we need to cool down after this incredible run. But we will be back in 2 weeks for the Roval. That's going to be setting back for the rest of the regular season, where drivers are going to have to hit their marks. They're going to have to make that final push, because it doesn't get any easier from here. 8 races, 8 different winners. That means we're down to just 4 spots here, Zach, for the rest of the regular season on who could point their way in, and they could still somehow win a race and get into the playoffs.
That is crazy to see, man. I mean, it's been back and forth every single race. I kind of expect it to continue that way through the rest of this season. So I can't wait to see how it all shapes out, who joins those 8 drivers already locked in, because it's going to be a stout field heading into playoff time.
Can't wait for it. But man, for tonight, thank you for joining with us on your Wednesday evening, as you got to see that of the Get Wet Sports 250 here at Las Vegas for the Wicked Racing League. Race number 8 of the season is done. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, the coverage throughout the week isn't done fully, as tomorrow night going to be seeing that of the Stars and Stripes ARCA Series could have their fun on Thursday. Then on Saturday, it's the WSSR Rose to Gems Cup Series, going to be having some coverage there at 7:50 p.m. Eastern. Then we're going to be taking Sunday off, and we'll be right back to coverage on Monday for the ISRC Truck Series. As well on Tuesday, it's the Full Send Truck Series, and then we're right back here in 2 weeks, as we will have next week off, but we'll be back for that of the Roval on that of March 15th. Can't wait for it. Thank you for joining us here tonight. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on our next broadcast tomorrow night for the Stars and Stripes.